got me down again.
Welcome back to Newcastle Motorsports Park for round number 1 of the Apex Karting Championships Midwest Division, round number 1. And it's the second half of finals and pre-final Sunday, getting started with your pre-final for KA100 Masters. Chris Kuchar on the front row will be alongside Scott Carapolati, Ethan Bacano, and Andy Kuchar round out row number 2. Ken Simonellic and Brandon Estes in 5th and 6th. Nathan Williams, Kim Carapolati, Elliot Bacano, and Kevin Simonellic round out your top 10. It was the tale of two Kuchars out in front, but some late race dramatics in heat number 2 for Andy Kuchar sent him to the back of the pack. He ends up 4th in the points. Brett, he's got his work cut out for him today.
Yeah, he was the one that I was talking about, if you're watching our coverage earlier this morning, who went off on the final lap, got tires off yesterday. That was due to the moist or wet condition. That should not be an issue today. We've seen plenty of drivers in our morning session go offline. They scrub a little bit of speed, but they're able to get back onto the track. So that's what happened to Andy yesterday. He's hoping he stays on track today. Should be a good race here for our pre-final. Much beautiful weather today. No chance of rain. Yesterday, I think you may remember, we had showers come in the middle of some of our races. That is not going to be the issue today.
Here we go. Do the timing line. Chris Kuchar on the inside in that red speed. Scott Carapolati on the outside in the 4:06. 8 minutes and 2 laps. We roll into the timing cones, and the Kuchars get back to the front. Let's find out. Let's go racing in the pre-final for KA Masters. Watch Bacano on the low line immediately. Andy going down low as well, trying to get the biggest run possible out of I-70. Can't get there in turn 1. Right in turn 2, clears Bacano. Is already to the rear bumper. No, not yet. Bacano gonna swing back. You've got Ken Simonellic just behind as well in the 420. That's actually, I believe, Brandon Estes in the 435 making that move through scoreboard. So one move down, but Andy still has his work cut out for him. Kuchar and Carapolati up and away.
Yeah, you see our 2 leaders. They were able to break away while they were rubbing speed off and making those passes from 3rd on back. But you mentioned it, Andy Kuchar going to have a tall order. Again, this is just a pre-final, but he wants to get the best position possible before we head into the final this afternoon. You can see his brother Chris just looking behind him to see how much of a gap he has as they come around to complete in just a few corners the first lap. But nice and clean racing so far. Everyone seems to be spreading out, very similar to what we saw here yesterday.
Andy Kuchar, then this big reshuffle behind Ethan Bacano, Brant Estes, Ken Simonellic in the 420, and a change for the lead. No, a little bit of frustration there, it looks like, for Andy Kuchar. Going purple lap number 1, move further back. Brant Estes in the 435, trying to get 4 over from Bacano. That'll bring Ken Simonellic in the 420 back into the mix. Good battle here, continuing to develop as Ethan Rise on the exit now of the scoreboard corner. Can he hold on to it? Up and over the hill. Through the green corner. No, can't get there.
Yeah, Ethan Bacano was one of those drivers that we saw was strong yesterday. Now here is our top 3. It's the Carapolati and Kuchar have joined forces here, and it looks like they are starting to run down Chris Kuchar. So we could have a battle for the lead shaping up before this race is over. Indeed, you can see how close the gap is closing on that straightaway there. So all 3 of our top 3, you could throw them into a hat. They are just all on your screen right there. The Carapolati is the one that is separating those 2 brothers right now.
This already is a lot more motivating for Scott, considering how much he was struggling in the wet yesterday. And in the green track afternoon, rubbered in, though, he has got an absolute fighting shot.
I think we have trouble
against
in the
these
back.
Kuchars. Look like potentially, oh yeah, 2 collected. Who have we got here in I-70?
I heard screeching tires and then people going off. So not sure if there was contact there or a driver got squirrely on their own, but that's the 427 of Ethan Bacano, who we were just talking about, was having a strong run, so he's going to go back to 10th or 11th. So horrible pre-final for Bacano there. Again, not sure what happened, but I heard the tires squealing, and I looked in the background and saw both those drivers off the board.
Contact with the 420 Ken Simon Eilick. I'm not sure. Off of the screech, maybe a lock of the rear brakes. And the kart swapped ends and maybe backed it into another kart. But regardless, Kano, who looked very strong yesterday, as maybe an outside upset to the Kuchers like Carapolati, has to hit the reset button, will be sent to the back of the field for the main event. Bit of a breakaway now for Andy, as here comes Chris to the inside of I-70. Carapolati not able to fight back, and for the first time today, didn't take too long, back to a Kucher 1-2.
Yeah, the brothers are back together, and I think we saw when we were looking at that incident that they were able to dice it up and make some passes there, and now they're back together. Interesting to see if Chris will be able to draft back up to his brother. I think yesterday they were pretty much even when it came to speed. I think in qualifying they're only a few thousandths of a second off of one another. So I think they should be able to come back together. We'll see here in a few laps, but same thing as we saw yesterday. Not surprised the least bit of seeing these two brothers up here at the front. But of course, Scott's in the 406 will have something to say about that before this race is over with.
First time we've actually seen Scott do a handful of regional races outside of coast stuff. Very, very heavy presence in the Carolinas. We saw him a couple weeks ago running KA Masters at Queen City Gambit, as well as the Carolina Grand Prix at Trackhouse Motorplex. But only his fourth race weekend so far. He's having no trouble right now running with the Kuchers out in front. Let's take a look a little bit further back, though, to the other Carapolati, Ken, running right now alongside Nathan Williams. The Carapolati in the form of Kim here further back in the 436. Four-kart battle going back to Kevin Simonellic as well in P7.
Yes, I forgot we have at least two sets of family members, or three actually, I think, that are racing in this division. We talked about that a little bit yesterday, but farther back in the pack, you can see they're pretty nicely spread out. Looks like maybe they'll try and work together, but I think they are a little bit too far back to catch up to the leaders that you just saw flash across your screen off in the distance there. But this is very similar to what we saw yesterday. It gets spread out very quickly with these KA Masters. And take a look at that wind, though. They have a headwind going down that back straightaway there.
Interesting. Yep, through the short chute into the start of the 90s there. That is going to be very interesting. As we talked about earlier on during the 206 finals, how paramount that short chute and the good exit is for potentially making a pass right here in the final corner coming out of turn 16. That could be massive implications later on. What could drivers potentially experiment with? 90 seconds on the clock. Two Kuchers out in front. Scott Carapolati in third. Kim Carapolati in sixth. Got Kevin Simonellic in seventh. Ken Simonellic crashed out in the 420. That was with Ethan Bacano in the 427. Of course, not to be confused with Elliot Bacano in the 426. Karting's a family sport. 1 minute on the clock. Business as usual. And here we go, bumper to bumper once again, the two Kuchers.
I was going to say, speaking of families, I mean, the Kuchers have found each other once again. I think they have very similar speeds in their karts. Now, I asked the same question yesterday. We're going to get the three to go here when they come by. But how hard do you race your brother in a pre-final? Now, I can understand the final, definitely racing them hard, but this is the pre-final. So you just be a good brother, and, well, I think I just got my answer. So, no, Chris just took the lead, and they're side by side now down the straightaway here. We'll see if that's able to help see if Scott Carapolati is able to catch back up to them. I was going to ask if they're going to be good brothers and stay behind one another, but they decided to switch it up on me there.
Both of the Kuchers, part of our regular crew out in Batavia, not present for round number 4 of the Pro-Am for MCC to come out and race with us. Carapolati obviously racing with us a little bit as well in the Apex Southeast Championship. Definitely more than thrilled to have plenty more karts to play with now that we've moved over to the Midwest. Again, big factor in that. Getting family members to come out and run with you, share data, share tools, share equipment. What's led to this being one of the few places where we've been comfortably into the double digits in a two-stroke category for this age group. Twin sticks coming out. Chris Kuchar, as we mentioned, back to the lead now. Now Andy Kuchar, good run. Not going to make a move yet. I think the strat here, Brett, have Andy play rear gunner and try and fend off from Scott Carapolati.
And I think with what we saw happen to Andy yesterday on the final lap, you have to wonder if that's in the back of his mind. He doesn't want to make any mistakes in these final 2 laps, then have to start even deeper in the final race. We'll see if Andy decides to make a move on the final lap here, but same story as we saw yesterday. I keep mentioning it. They are hard to beat here this weekend. They're obviously the 2 drivers that are going to be the favorites going into the final, but you can never know what happens in this division. Things could go crazy, especially on the first lap of the final. So we'll see how everything shakes out as we get into the later parts of this afternoon.
You've watched our coverage of MCC, a lot of the grassroots stuff. You will know that the Kuchars are very good at working together. Don't really take the gloves off until the closing laps of the main event. Are we going to start partying maybe a little bit earlier this time? Here we go. Andy looking to the outside. Drag race into I-70. Can Andy make it work the long way around? No. Chris goes deep on the brakes and drives it out. Now Carapolati getting a good opportunity with the drive into the shark fin. Not going to get there, but Andy staying in the tracks of Chris, up and over the hill into scoreboard. But man, Scott Carapolati doing a really good job. Phenomenal opening sector there. Blue helmet, black suit is right on the tracks. Can he become the meat of this Kuchar sandwich as we work out a green corner? Another great overtaking opportunity here into turn 11. No move for second or third. Little bit of a lock up there for Kuchar, trying to rotate the kart through the double lefts. Here we go through the headwind. Scott Carapolati going to be hoping. Oh, look at this. Gets an exit. We're nearly 3 wide coming out of turn number 12. Carapolati going to get that run for P2. Yeah, here we go. Andy Kuchar going to try and swing back. Not able to get there. Chris Kuchar going to win. Scott Carapolati getting 1 extra spot at the buzzer.
I don't know if Andy Kuchar was expecting that. You saw him turn his head immediately when he saw that kart to the outside. I don't think he knew that Scott was there.
Huge shot across the bow for the 2 Kuchars. Scott Carapolati has got this ordeal figured out. They are 5 seconds and change clear of Brant Estes, Nathan Williams, and Kim Carapolati. Unfortunately for Ken Simonelli, for Ethan Bacano, they were looking so strong earlier on. Got to get those chassis on the table, make sure they're good to go. They're ready and will be forced to start at the tail end of the grid. 2-cycle action fully underway here from Newcastle IAME Micro. Their pre-final coming up next from Newcastle.
Champions aren't just born on the kart track. At SimShop, we deliver professional-grade simulators with the best performance-to-price ratio in the industry. Founded by racers who understand what you need, our SimMagic and Moza equipment is powerful enough for the pros, yet affordable for everyone. With unmatched customer support and a thriving community, we're your racing partner. Visit simshop.com today.
Wins the Wisconsin Grand Prix! James Overbeck on start number 2 gets win number 1 in OKN Stars!
On track or off, Brandon Jarsacek Racing delivers elite performance. Led by 4-time Pro National Champion Brandon Jarsacek, our team masters driver coaching, data-driven analysis, and mechanical precision at every national event. Contact us today at BrandonJarskakRacing.com.
Karting isn't just speed. It's control, precision, freedom. At Atlanta Motorsports Park, Kart Freedom isn't just a team. It's where drivers are made.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
When it comes to innovation on the track, Odenthal Racing Products leads the pack. From the highly popular EasyGP camera mounts to our tough case to GoPro case, racers everywhere trust ORP for strength, reliability, and precision. We're proud to be the #1 engine mount manufacturer in the USA. And with our new Easy Bumper Retainer System, you won't get caught out with a failed bumper bolt again. Odenthal Racing Products. Lead or get left behind.
Kip Naus on pole for the IAME Micro pre-final. And the boss man with a win under his belt already. Remy in the 288 will start alongside him in row number 2. DJ Akers jumping out of the GFC into the Magic in the 254 will be on the inside of row number 2 alongside James Fox in the 212 Top Kart. Miles Hill and Jackson Sloan round out row number 3. Wyatt Brolsman, Toby Blue, Rep Blue, and Tom DeLong round out your top 10. Thanks for sticking with us. Whether you're joining us trackside here at what has become a beautiful day here on the outskirts of Indiana, or of course tuning in trackside around the world on Kart Chaser Premium. Alongside Brett Baldeck, I'm Jackson Lambros. We've got a full afternoon of IAME action coming your way, and the kid Kip Naus ready to get this party started. He was a dynamo yesterday. It was a very close battle, and Heat 1 was a lot more comfortable. I think 5 seconds and change for Heat number 2. Remy Boss is fired up after that 206 win. What can he do against the kid to his right? Let's find out. Let's get it going in IAME Micro for the pre-final. DJ Akers, good shove there. Remy slots into P2. Fox back in 4th. Back Jackson Sloan in the 218, trying to make an early dive to get to this freight train early on. Miles Hill in the 215, gaining a position in that fellow top car. A little bit of contact, Fox to Boss there. The scoreboard. We are underway. We are very clean right now. Great racecraft taking place from our youngest drivers in the paddock. They're heading into the cell tower for the first time, Brett.
Pretty orderly, which we love to see. We know there were some issues yesterday on that first corner, but Kip Naus picking up where he left off yesterday. But I was going to keep my eye on Remy Bosch just because he's already been on track today in our morning division. A little bit of a different kart, but he was strong this morning, and maybe he can take some of what he learned this morning and apply it to this event, because you can see the top 4 are pretty much in one pack. Boss is the one in that 3rd position, that bright orange part that you see there. Interesting to see if yesterday we know Kip Naus was able to just drive away on his own. We'll see if these 3 behind him are able to make any headway working together. You see a pass there, but they're continuing to jockey for position down the back straightaway. So that's what Kip wants to see out front.
Too hard of a send there from Remy Boss. I think he slid the tires on exit there and skidded. That's what gave the opportunity for Akers and Fox to go on through. That was unfortunately a costly move for all 3 of them. You can see that gap already forming once again between them and Kip. working up over the hill. Further back, you can see that battle developing as well. Hell versus Brolsman. Brolsman hasn't had the pace, unfortunately, either in the 206 or here in the Mini Swift, or in the Micro Swift, I should say. But he has been phenomenal wheel-to-wheel racing. When he gets a run, he's been able to make a lot of moves stick in that Kart Republic that we have not necessarily expected from behind the wheel of the two-stroke machine. Going to try and make that move on the top kart in front of him. Again, moving over from the KA100 back down to step 1 of two-stroke racing, the IAME Micro Swift engine, or the Mini Swift, this being the Micro Restrictor. Again, the youngest age group running a little bit less ballast on the kart, a heavier restrictor. But with that on these cadet-sized chassis, what that means is pretty much from age 7 to about 11, you can start your career on pretty much the exact same platform. Good run for Akers here, coming out of the shark fin. We'll get to the inside. Boss gonna try and cross him up on exit. Not enough Mo on exit. So that'll be a done deal for P2.
Yeah, Kip Knaus and James Fox continued to lead. You saw them flash by there, as it looks like we have trouble for, I think that's James Fox's
215 of Hale.
Right. We mild Hale. He's able to get it going, so no issues on the track right now. This is back for 3rd and 4th, I believe, on the racetrack. There's our 2 leaders there. Yep, this is 3rd and 4th, so Ray Boss in 4th, TJ Akers in 3rd. So they're mixing it up as our leaders are also starting to get close together as James Fox clicks off the fastest lap that time around.
Miles Hill dropping down to P8. Another good run there for TJ Akers. Thought he pinched it on exit a little bit there, coming out of 16. Not too much of an issue, though, as Boss still not able to get that move for P3 just yet. Purple lap for James Fox. Fastest time we've seen this weekend, 119.042. 4/10 up from the last one from Kip. And just like yesterday, tail end of the heats, this is absolutely evolved now into a duel for the win and provisionally a duel for the pole for the main event.
I don't think this is as easy as a layover win as some of the races we saw yesterday with Kip Knaus. James Fox is right there, and he has the speed with that fastest lap. And you mentioned it, fastest lap we've seen this weekend. That's not surprising, given the beautiful weather we're seeing today. Again, only issue that remains from yesterday is we do have that fairly stiff breeze you can see on the flags, but it looks like it's coming out of, they are getting a little bit of a tailwind down the front stretch. So similar to what we saw yesterday, but this lead looks like it continues to tighten up here with about 2.5 minutes to go, plus the 2 laps.
Black helmet in the front. Yep, now it's the Fernando Alonso replica just behind James Fox. He is driven it to the bumper now of Kip. Had a really good run, but again, is thinking smart. Knowing that he hasn't seen the twin sticks yet. He's choosing not to go for the lead just yet. Again, Kip has done plenty of defending so far this weekend. He made plenty of moves. He's used to being on the other side of this equation too. Handful of races under Knaus's belt already at the national level, as well as the regional level. Hit out of the Carolinas, trying to break away once again. The hometown guy, James Fox, just behind in the 212. Despite his age, could probably drive around here blindfold behind the wheel of that Mini Swift. And is trying to put that pace to the rear bumper of Knaus. Once again, a little bit of a gap growing once again now Knaus to Fox. 90 seconds on the clock. We talked about the joys now of the sun being back out. I think we got to remember as well, though, these MG tires have had 2 days of racing straight on them now. With track temps coming up, that can make tire management critical for the main event. A little bit further back, Brolsman slow. Sloan and Boss trying to go through, or excuse me, Sloan and Akers trying to go through. That'll be a done deal. 290 of Toby blew the first one. Now here comes Miles Hale in the 215 top cart. 4-corner exit there coming out of turn 16. And that's how much, Brett, just a single mistake on one corner can cost you.
Yeah, you said it there. This is about 5th through 8th, but they are 16 or 17 seconds off the lead. But we saw, especially earlier this morning, I mentioned it pre-race, you get a tire off into the dirt or you get offline, you just scrub so much speed, especially in these style carts with the micro. You need the momentum. And you can see these three are stuck together, but that cart, I believe that's Earlsman, is able to gap these guys. So this is well behind our leaders, but they are still mixing it up back here. Every position matters before you go into this final.
Battle raging on further back. Hale, DeLong, Blue, and the 218, Jackson Sloan. Their way here coming out of turn 16. Bumper to bumper right now with the 290. This is for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Here comes Hale with a look to the inside.
Oh, no.
Wide. Oh, one cart off in the grass further back. It's Blue. No. 221, Burlsman with a big slide. Keeps the throttle pin. Goes full opposite lock. Lightning McQueen's it. And keeps it going through I-70.
That was sketchy. 3 wide, I said it yesterday, doesn't always work here. And here's the battle for the lead. But 3 wide looks like he just got so high he was able to miss that corner. But we are heating it up for the lead. They've gotten, I believe, the 2 to go. They're about halfway through the track. So they're going to get the white flag this time by. Is James Fox setting up Kip Knaus for a pass here? And I wasn't sure if he was going to make it there, but he has the outside line there. So we'll see if he has a run coming through. These final corners are going to come to the straightaway. It looks like he has a run there.
And just trying to keep it as open as possible. Roll as much speed through 15 in the final 16th corner as possible. A little bit of a peek to the inside of the kink. Nearly sends it deep there into I-70. But again, backs out of it. I thought he was going to send him deep there. But he likes the shark fin much more for a move. And does so in far less dramatic fashion. As James Fox does get back to the point now with 2 laps to go.
Yes, my correction. They just got the 2 laps to go signal. So now they're well aware of how many laps, how many corners they have left. So now this is the first time in this race that we've seen Kip Knaus have anyone in front of him. We'll see how he's able to handle it, if he's able to set up a pass with about a lap and a half to go here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. But what a great battle for the lead between these 2 drivers. And again, they've gapped everyone by over 10 seconds. Third is 11 seconds behind this battle.
Remy Boss maybe getting an opportunity from the start. Unfortunately, TJ Akers really wanted that P3 position. Jackson Sloan got an opportunity to bite at the ankles as well, so he's been more than busy right now. No opportunity for him to break away. It's the lap that counts now for the pre-final for Mike Rose Swift, and it is indeed James Fox out in first now with a good run. What's the move? Staying in line, a little bit more of a shallow entry into I-70. Now going to try and swing it wide. Fox defending into the shark fin. No lunge like last corner. Fox won't get a taste of his own medicine. Still plenty of opportunities to overtake, though. It could be right here into scoreboard. You've got the right-handed hairpin of turn 11. But with that wind blowing across the deck, that can make a really good opportunity. Here's one we haven't seen yet. Inside a green corner. Side by side on exit. Fox barely ahead. No, Kip Knaus. First time we've seen a cross-up in the green corner. Gets it back before we even get to turn 11. Now for Fox. Is it a move that was maybe too soon? He's got a great opportunity once again right here. Coming out of Cell Tower, out of the short chute, and into the 90-degree of the Indies. Here he goes. Kip Knaus going to force him the long way around, but if he can roll this momentum, the outside can become the inside. They'll have the overlap just barely. Fox going to get back to the point. Not done yet. Knaus might have one more opportunity. Middle of the track to try and defend. Knaus going to try and go the long way around. Now does the crossover on the exit. James Fox by half a kart length, gets himself on pole.
What a great battle by those two on that final lap. And you know what I love about it? I said it yesterday, is they kept it clean. They didn't get a wheel off that racetrack. So good, clean racing by those two. They put on a heck of a show. And again, that was only the pre-final. So we still have the final to go. Excited for that one.
Ethical wheel between our top two drivers. We'll see if anyone else can join that party when we get to the main event, 3:40 local time here on today. Time to go racing with the big kids. KA Senior, the pre-final coming up. Here come the seniors, 27 of them for our pre-final. Here for round number one of the Apex Midwest Division. Ike on pole and Mick Gabriel alongside him. That's been the 1-2 we've been used to all weekend long to this point. Chris McKeith and Ian Quinn trying to join the fray. Just behind in row two, Addison Ianello, Landon Buer in 5th and 6th. Adam Maxwell, Aiden Lorenko with Eli Warren and Levi Getz rounding out your top 10. Mick Gabriel, Malkit having plenty of time up here. They have been dancing partners for the vast majority of this year at the regional and national level in KA 100. Dylan White, Wyatt Leslie, row 6. Mason Galen, Alex Aculcio in row 7 with David Baker, Mason Surgener, Lucian Laser, Wrigley Keys, Mason Ward, Elijah Skaggs, rounding out your top 20. Wrigley Keys looked very strong yesterday, Brett. He's got a lot of work ahead of him.
Yeah, we have we've seen in the morning sessions with our other division, trouble can strike in that mid-pack on the first lap, and it can throw away your whole race, especially in the finals. So if I was a driver, if I was starting outside the top 10, I would be a little nervous on some of these starts that we've seen this morning. We'll see how it shakes out as they're about to come off the final corner and get that green flag.
Felix Catch jumping in the go-kart for the first time this week, driving from Ohio yesterday. G&J Kartways for a grassroots opportunity. Has his work cut out from him further back. Where can he go from the back of the pack? Does anyone have anything for Ike out in front? Let's find out. We'll see the green flag and go racing once again in KA Senior. Watch McKeithen down low. Will get that position 3 wide further back with Ben Lida as well, making a couple moves there in that TB kart. Malkit first one through, coming out of the shark fin. Then McKeithen with Mick Gabriel in the AEM 394. Not sure where Landon Boer ended up. Addison Ianello getting a couple spots as well in her Coyote. And it's Aiden Lorenko in the 929, I believe, a GFC. Here we go, underway for 8 minutes of racing, 2 laps to set the field for our KA Senior main event.
And just like we've seen all weekend, that bottom line on the start had a huge advantage. I think at least the first 3 karts that started on the bottom were able to come out of that first corner 1, 2, 3. We'll see if that, what I'm saying is true, and then come around the line this time when we get our new running order. A little bit of dust in the back. That is where the Hornet's Nest is, as it always is in the KA Senior division. But you can see there is the top 4 on your screen. Isaac Malka, Mick Gabriel, Chris McKeithen, and Ian Quinn. Same drivers that we saw yesterday that were battling out. Look like they are going to be the ones that want to settle it here this afternoon in the pre-final.
Wrigley Keys and Alex Zaculcio are 2 big movers so far, up 4 positions apiece. These 4 out in front are all over the rear of that Mike Doty racing machine. The OTK of Isaac Malkut. Again, Ike, very fond of the wet conditions, was able to really build a gap earlier on when the track was green. But with this MG rubber laid down after what's now essentially been a full day of racing since Mother Nature has stopped pelting us, Isaac Malkut has his work cut out for him, and crucially, he's got to stay on the racing line. Maybe a little bit defensive, but not a full kart length off of the optimal line. It's because of these guys you see a little bit further back. Aiden Lorenko, Landon Buer, Eli Ware, and Adam Maxwell and company. And further back, that's your top GFC. Aiden Lorenko in the 929. Taking a little bit of a toe to, I believe, Eli Ware in the 997. Fellow Mike Doty racing LN kart. Coming out from the northeast. They have been very strong. Change for the lead. And it's Ian Quinn in the 986 getting to the point now. Purple lap last time by, was able to get 2 positions there. This was a big scuffle that seemingly we've missed on track.
Yeah, Ian Quinn, I mentioned he was strong yesterday, was definitely in contention. See them coming off the corner now. Oh, and in trouble for the 999. Oh, and frustration as well. Let's see, that is Mason Ward. Obviously frustrated. It looks like maybe that was probably a mechanical issue. Nothing he could do there. Back up to the lead. Things have calmed down slightly. There are some gaps, but you can see it looks like they are about to accordion back together, especially when you get tires off into the dirt like that. It just scrubs so much speed, and here they come. The pack rate on the back of our leader. Looks like we may see a pass down this front straightaway.
Not the first time we've seen an issue there through turn 14. First time we've had a new leader. Ike immediately going to try and swing back. Thought about a move to the inside of I-70. Couldn't get there. Gabriel, McKeithen, Addison Ianello to the back. Here comes Ike again. Gabriel trying to go with him. Has to back out of it. Isaac Malkut getting the fangs out early. We'll back everybody up. And we'll get back to the point. Now Gabriel really wants to get through. Using the bumper, giving a shove here. Originally wanted to push Quinn through. Now looks like he's getting him offline as they work through the green corner. The shark fin, 1 card off. Chris McKeithen once again, just like the final for 206, gets fed a wheel and has to go off. Will drop back significantly.
But in that other one, he dropped back to 29th and went up to 8th. So he has the experience, Christopher McKeithen, to drop a wheel and then fight his way back up through the field. I think he got back on track pretty quickly. Yes, he lost some speed, but I think he was able to recover without making that much worse. But you can see our leader is now starting to gap Ian Quinn slightly here. We'll see if they accordion back together. As you can see, there are a line of about 5 cars. We'll see if they work together, use a draft, but put Isaac Malkut back into the lead by about 6 kart lengths right now.
And Buer looking to the inside into the 920 GFC. Done deal for P3. It has been fireworks outside of P1, much to the delight of that blue and white machine out in front of Another guy joining the fray right now, the 941, Adam Maxwell. There he is going to the inside. Mick Gabriel trying to go with him. Gabriel, second place off the line, has fallen back to P7, trying to gather it back up. And these guys continue to scuffle for third, fourth, and fifth. They have got no plans of working together to try and get back to the front. Wrigley Keys on the charge forward once again. National Motorsports OTK. P9 now up to P8, making that move on Christopher McKeithen. Another driver that was very fast yesterday as well. Mason Surgener just set aside another purple lap, 112.402, full 10th up from the fields right now. Fortunately, that 945 nowhere to go middle of this freight train.
Yeah, it feels like to me it has been gloves off among these first 7 or 10 since the drop of the green flag. So if we see this in the pre-final, I can only imagine what it's going to be like when they get the green flag for the final. Things look like they have settled down for the moment. We can take a moment to catch our breath. Isaac Melka is loving what he saw behind him. He's able to extend his lead. He actually has a over 1 second lead. As we see, a Kart is off. I believe that's the 996 or the 906. It's hard with the grass in the frame there, but it looks like that Kart can get back on track as we go back up to our leaders. Like I said, Isaac Malka has over a second lead over Ian Quinn. You see it right there, but Quinn has to be more worried about now these drivers behind him that are lined up about 2nd through 8th.
New Gen Motorsports machine of Tyler Sims that was going off, I believe, I-70, where something might have gone wrong with that Kart, but that'll be another one sent to the back of the field for the main event. Running out of time here. These guys need to work together because Ian Quinn is putting his head down, trying to do anything he can to get to Isaac Malkit, but crucially, he has got no help. I think the tone might be set here. 30 seconds left on the clock. It'll be 3 laps to go as it stands. Everyone might be trying to swamp Ian Quinn here, working into the shark fin. He dragged a couple wheels off in the dirt. That's immediately brought Viewer and Warren to the rear bumper.
Oh my goodness!
You're like, oh, contact further back! Landon Buer going around, and the GFC driver frustrated, trying to block that Kart back on track, but wheel hopped over Ian Quinn in the 986. And crucially, a major contender for the main event sent to the back for the final coming up, and that could be damage to the Borel of Ian.
He not only went over another car, I think he drove over that curb thinking that he was going to have that inside line, and I thought he was going over. He got some serious air there, but as you mentioned, Jackson, you have to wonder what kind of damage it did to that Kart. Now that happened, and they're still battling here for second position. This is, I believe, second, third, and fourth, as we're going to come around to get 2 laps to go. So game on now, 2 laps to go.
Point forward for Mick Gabriel, although at this point with 2 laps out, that's fighting the sun with the squirt gun, my friend. I'm not sure if that gap is fully going to be close. So you can see it on track. Ike already on the dive into the shark fin. Give it a couple moments. Here's your pack. Warren, Gabriel, and indeed on the recovery, Chris McKeithen, 3rd place, now 2nd. Gabriel swinging it really wide, gonna try the cross up on Christopher. Not able to get there. Just further back, Mason Surgener, the MPG machine, back up into P5. A little bit of teamwork actually here, shockingly. But Brett, it's gonna be far too little, far too late. McKeithen looking to the inside here, actually. No, can't make it work.
Yeah, this battle is for about 2nd through 10th or 11th. They've all accordioned back together as Isaac Malcutt continues to extend his lead. Now, what you have to worry about if you're in this group, if you're in 2nd or 3rd, you could easily, on this final lap, go to outside the top 10, as there is our leader. Clean and green, Sunday drive for him. And then look at this mess back here as we get the white flag.
National Motorsports machine. Everyone sent down to the paint by Christopher McKeithen. Nobody able to make a move. Gabriel swinging it wide on exit, trying to make something work. Can't get there into the shark fin. A little bit of a breakaway now with Gabriel giving the bumper into the shark fin. This is great for Eli Warren, though. He'll have no pressure as it stands right now for the final lap. 4.2 seconds clear now of Isaac Malkick. He's forced wide by Mick Gabriel. Has to gather it back up. I think we'll slot in maybe P8 or 9. But man, it has been very aggressive further back. He's again trying to find a way to slot back in. Has just gotten there now. Mason Surgeoner trying to get his way onto the second row there. Watch that red MPG machine trying to make a move on Christopher McKeithen in the Coyote. Out of the cell tower for the final time into the Indies. Isaac Malkett, where do we even start with this kid? They weren't really making it easy for him as well. But at the same time, the fireworks happening behind him means it'll be no drama for the 9-7 to be on pole position for the main event. Eli Warren alongside him. McKeithen in third. Here comes the freight train further back. Mick Gabriel going to be the first of them.
That was some intense racing behind our top two. We saw some trouble for some of our top contenders who have a huge gap to close when they dig the final, and they're going to start to mid to back pack. I got to catch my breath after that one. That was some intense racing. Excited for the final as well. Excited for all the finals. I can't say I just could pick one. We've seen some great racing this afternoon. Thanks to Mother Nature giving us some dry time for these drivers to show off what they can do.
We'll step aside for just a moment here from Newcastle Motorsports Park. When we return, we come back to the cadets with IAME Mini in their pre-final.
Kyle, what are you doing?
It's got my new Greyhound seat.
You don't even have a cart.
Doesn't matter. I have a Greyhound.
Who the f is Kyle Cuthbertson? Doesn't even have a go-kart.
Doesn't matter.
Cuthbertson through on Turney. Turney in the dirt.
Let's go race.
Come on, man.
Welcome to the future of kart race preparation, Kart Sim Pro North America. Featuring laser-scanned North American kart circuits and precision-tuned kart physics developed using real telemetry, dyno and tyre data, Kart Sim Pro North America delivers the most advanced and realistic kart simulation experience available today. Whether you're training for race day, refining your lines, or shaving tenths off your personal best, Kart Sim Pro gives you pro-level insight without leaving your home. Trusted by world champions, coaches, and karting enthusiasts alike, this is where virtual practice translates into real-world performance. Experience the thrill, the challenge, and the edge. Kart Sim Pro North America. Use code CHASER20 to get 20% off today.
Let's set the stage here for your main event. IAME Mini out on track for their pre-final. Hudson Howard looking very strong yesterday on pole in that 149 Kart Republic for MPG, and Hudson and Howard driver development Slate Harrell alongside him. And the two top dogs out in front in this division. Evan Leish in the 107 and Ruben Greer make up row number 2. Maddox Carlucci, Anderson Hemphill, Caden Taruno, Silas Johnson, Light Simon Elk, and Bo Laser round out your field. This was one of the more fun ones here. And you look at kind of the main takeaways here, Brett. These were the guys that were really proven you can make moves late through the 90s.
Yeah, this is another one of those, it's a younger kids or younger driver division, but they really put on a heck of a show. And I'm not expecting anything different compared to what we saw here yesterday. Excited to see this one get going as well. 11-car field, but as Parker Kligerman would say, you only need 2 race cars to make a race. So we have 11. It should be a good race.
Love it. And you realize why the racing is so good when they move up to the full-size karts, because these guys, when they move up to junior, constantly complain, oh, I can't make moves anymore. My kart is so much bigger. It's so much heavier. I can't flick the kart into corners as easily. The gaps need to be so much bigger for me to make moves. Plain and simple, it's easier to go wheel-to-wheel racing, and that's exactly what these kiddos need. 8 minutes on the clock. Will run for 2 laps after that. Pair of Kart Republics on the pole. Let's do it. Green flag out in the air. We're racing for the pre-final in Mini Swift. Potentially a 1-2-3 here as we storm into I-70. A lot of curb there. You can see Hudson Howard jump up in the seat using all of that yellow curbing there. Doing the same into the shark fin for the first time. Ruben Greer getting that position on Evan Leish, the alone new gen in this field of Kart Republic MPG machines. After that, Maddox Carlucci trying to get a seat at the table as well. Had a little bit of a heart in the throat moment there with a couple of kids jumping around, but we are all good. We are up and away from Mini Swift.
Yes, we are organized, but looks like we already have a battle for the lead on lap 1, and it looks like Slate Harrell is going to go out to the lead. Same 2 drivers that were battling for the lead all weekend long. And we'll see if Slate Harrell's able to gap anyone. I'm not expecting that to happen. These karts are all so equal, and you can tell because look at them all the line. I think that's about 1st through 6th. All nose to tail, all within the line, but Slate Harrell looks like he is going to lead this first lap here in the final, but a long way to go. You can see they're lining up behind him.
Give it about 2 laps and we'll see the true colors come out. In terms of pace, Ruben Greer trying the inside through red corner at Cell Tower, up and over the hill. Unfortunately lost a lot of momentum there. We work into the back half of the racetrack for the second time. Really good momentum there from Greer. Unfortunately lost a lot of it, allowing the MPGs to cut away. A little bit further back, Evan Leish, Maddox Carlucci, Caden Taruno. I remember how excited Maddox Carlucci was first time we came out. The Pacific Northwest full-time driver with NWKA in the Burley Products Super Cup. Was so stoked to be on TV. Drove the snot out of it. Won in 206 Sportsman. And he credits those closing weekends at the regional level for mom and dad to really be motivated to go and race at the national level. And much like half of the kids this age in this field, not a weekend he has not been in a go-kart. Potentially a setup here for running at the national level later on this season. But a lot of running on the West Coast doing SCUSA Pro Kart Challenge, as well as Champions of the Future America Series. Hope to see him a couple weeks from now in Pahrump, one of the front-running drivers there. First big travel weekend for him. Getting to make a couple new friends, make a couple battle buddies, learn a new track. Looks like he's been having a blast so far this weekend. Taruno and Greer out in front.
Yeah, at this age, get as much experience as you can. Especially now, the summer season is upon us, and what a great time to be a kid, not have to worry about going to school after a Sunday of racing. So especially this summer, I'm sure the parents are going to get that cart out for a lot of these kids and take them all over the country if they have the opportunity. with no school, you can get as much racing in as possible. Howard and Harrell continue to lead this field. They're in a class of their own. Then you see second, third, fourth, and fifth on your screen. Everyone seems to be content with riding where they are at the moment. A little duck out there, not close enough to make a pass. I think that's Caden Taruno. But they're going to come around and complete another lap. And there's our two leaders. Again, I ask this every time. So Slate Harrell, when he sees those 2 laps to go, is that when he decides to make his move? Because they definitely have a gap between them and third place, which is almost nearly 2 seconds already here.
I'd argue that's not as much as they maybe want here. Only a second and a half. That's certainly something that Evan Leash is able to close, especially if he gets help from some of the fast kids behind. Maddox Carlucci able to make that move on the Saudi kart of Caden Taruno for P5. We're trying to get to the back of Evan Leash, maybe push him to the front. These guys all kind of in a stalemate with one another. Guarding pace. Here's Grew. Lone new gen kart. Again, home weekend for them. Kent coming out from K1 Whiteland after running Route 66. Handful of club events there as well. And CKNA divisionals. Happy for them. Showcase another new chassis to us here on our platform. They looked very strong to start the season in the Southeast Division. Trying to carry that momentum as they head home for a race weekend here at Newcastle. Point forward from Greer, trying to get some help there from Leash. Still bumper to bumper, the 2 Kart Republics out in front. Hudson Howard, Slate Harrell. Here is Ruben Greer. Evan Leash, this could very quickly become a 4-kart freight train.
Yeah, you mentioned the teammates, but then the teammates have these 4 karts behind them. Now, I don't, let's see, they extended their lead to just over 2 seconds, but I don't know if Hudson Howard and Slate Harrell, they probably want to get a little more breathing room between them and this kart or this train of 4 karts before they start mixing it up. We still have 2 minutes left on the clock, so 2 minutes plus 2 laps. I would assume maybe 3 or 4 laps to go. I can't do the math right now. That's the reason I'm in the booth. Math is never my strong suit, but these drivers are 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th still nose to tail. There's our 2 leaders. Still content to ride behind one another. Use the draft to get that advantage that we've been talking about all weekend. Again, that headwind, it looks like almost is getting stronger as we go on into the day. The headwind coming down that back straightaway there as we come around to complete one more lap here at Newcastle Motorsports Park.
I think crucially though, I mean, the mics aren't giving us the sense that the wind isn't nearly as violent as it was yesterday, but it is almost across the deck. Down the main straightaway there, the run from turn 16 into I-70. That's going to make things a little bit more difficult for setting up runs. Again, it could be a really good help from using that first of the 90s as a launch pad, maybe making a move in the final corners. We'll have to wait and see here. 1 minute on the clock. Here is the best of the rest. Evan Leash, Ruben Greer, Maddox Carlucci, Caden Taruno. Oh, Laser looked really, really strong yesterday. Not entirely sure what's up with the 181. Just you saw him a speck a little bit further back there in P7. Had a little bit of drama further back. I'm not sure if that kart had to get on the chassis jig or get anything fixed, but getting the 181 who looked so strong behind the wheel yesterday, particularly in the 4-stroke stuff. Not carrying that momentum just yet in it to the 2-stroke stuff. Same for Anderson Hemphill. Again, a win already under his belt today. 124 not having the same level of white-hot pace that the Briggs kart was looking to have.
They continue to motor around the race course here. They have not gotten the 2 laps to go, so the clock has run out now. So they just got the 3 laps to go this time coming around. All the drivers will get that 2 laps to go. And it still continues to be the Howard and Harrell show up front. They are still trying to jockey for position farther back here, but this is very similar, almost identical to what we saw yesterday with the two leaders getting out in front and then the pack or the rest of the karts really kind of getting strung out all over the racetrack. Third place is Evan Leish, as you mentioned, Ruben Greer in fourth, Maxwell Carlucci in fifth. There's those three karts. I think that's fourth, fifth, and sixth, or third, fourth, and fifth, I should say. Now, we'll see how the points shake out, but some of these drivers, if they finish in this position, they'll probably have the inside line, as I believe, here we go. They saw the two to go, and now we have a battle for the lead with Hudson Howard, Slate Harrell going side by side into turn one, but Howard's going to...
He'll try again here into the shark fin. No, staying in the tracks now, coming out of the corner. First real attempt there at making a move. And the kid from the Carolinas trying to get out in front of that fellow Kart Republic. Trouble for Silas Johnson, the 127, down to a crawl. Able to keep it going. Anderson Hallenpel, Light Simon Ellick going through. Battle will rage on for the pole position. We've got your front row. Who's going to be on the inside, though, to take the green flag for the main event in about an hour? Trying to cross him up through the cell tower. Slate Harrell can't get him there. And Hudson Howard, this is deja vu from yesterday. A drag race into the S's for the last couple of laps into the 90s. Could be setting up a move further back. Evan Leish has a breakaway. Ruben Greer battling with Maddox Carlucci just a little bit back. Good opportunity for Harrell. Tried swinging it wide. Will get the run once again. Is he able to carry that run all the way to the lead? He'll be forced to the high line here through the kink. This is exactly how Howard was able to defend a couple laps ago. He holds it for one more lap.
You saw them look behind them really briefly. They wanted to see how much of a gap they still had with all the battling they did for the last lap. I think they're still clean and green. I think Evan Leish, he may be catching them. We'll see if he has enough time. Evan in third. There he is right there, but they continue to battle for this lead. Hudson and Harrell really going at it, and they may bring Leish right into this.
Good defense right now from Howard, trying to prevent any crossover on exit. Coming out of the corner, he's been so good at making sure Harrell hasn't been able to get a run. We'll try one more time, swinging it wide, side pod to contact just a little bit there. And on scene, Evan Leish, the three MPG guys going at it in the final corner. Through cell tower, out the short chute, into the S's. Evan Leish has just been chugging along, trying to get into the picture. Can anyone overtake Hudson Howard here for the final time? Nearly three wide through turn 13. Harrell all over the back of him.
Ooh.
It'll be a drag race one more time to the line. Who's going to get there first? Hudson Howard is on pole for the main event. Slate Harrell, Evan Leish not able to get there. And Ruben Greer, Maddox Carlucci, Caden Taruno, they were not far behind at the end of that battle.
Yeah, it's Jackson. It's amazing to me. I thought that they had Hudson Howard and Slate Harrell had a comfortable lead, that if they started swapping it up like they did, no one was going to be able to catch them. But it just shows just how quick you can catch someone else when you start mixing it up for the lead, start getting offline, start slowing down those lap times. That was exciting. Those final two laps there, almost everyone was able to come back and have a chance there.
Power of friendship further back. Evan Leish getting a little bit of help from Ruben Greer. Used that 120 new gen as a launch pad. Joined the fray. Just not able to get a move. Showed up just a little bit too late. It is a beautiful day here in Indiana. We're ready to keep the racing action rolling here. KA Jr. coming up next. Our last of the pre-finals here from Newcastle.
I'm Jackson with Alpha Race Hub. Alpha is an all-in-one motorsports software solution that can solve all the software problems you need for your track, facility, or series. Alpha can cover all your software bases, from online registration, digital e-waivers, a proprietary timing and scoring software, incident management, automated points tabulation, tire and barcode scanning. We even have our own mobile timing app and rental kart activity management software. If you're looking to consolidate your motorsports software solutions, reach out to us at Alpha Timing.
On pole position for the KA Junior Pre-Final, it's Cam Johnson in the Nash Motorsports EOS. Ben Glummerman for Ryan Perry Motorsports alongside him. That 863. Darren Kidd just behind in the 869. Be alongside Kalen Berghofer. Ezekiel Height coming off of a victory here. Be alongside Jacob Scheibel, AJ Stoner, Alex Kuchar, Easton Kabinski, and Christopher Yutzi after that dramatic moment behind the wheel of that Burrell. Brett Heel roll off P10.
Looking at our next page, Daniel Dragunov, he needs some good luck in this one as they bunch it up here at the start. Almost saw a collision there as they're about to get the green there.
They got to the grid in a hurry. They want to get racing. They want to set this field for the main event. We've got the green flag. Berghofer trying to shove Cam Johnson through to the front. And we'll get there. Same with Scheibel trying to get through. Not sure where he was able to slot in. That's big losses for Berghofer in the whole shot. Big wave of new gens further back. Oh, look at this one. Gleberman to the inside in the 6-9. That's Darren Kidd taking the win.
Oh,
Cam
no.
Johnson off! Coming out of the scoreboard corner will be outside of the top 10. Your major favorite all weekend long finds himself to the very back of the field.
If I've learned anything this weekend, these first couple laps are just so dicey with so many karts so close together. We'll see where Cam falls into line as they come across the line once again, and we get our scoring reset. But wow, what a turn of events. That's not what you want to see in a pre-final. Now, he's not out of it by any imagination, but a lot of work to do. As you can see, they are still up here battling for the lead. First, second, third, they're all great covered up coming off the final corner for the first lap. Looking at scoring, it looks like he went back to 15th place, a loss of 13 positions just by going off in the grass on the start.
Just made a move on Jet Price for P16. But 6.5 minutes on the clock. Cam Johnson's got to get to work, but it is a whole new ball game out in front. Darren Kidd gets to the point. He leads Ezekiel Height, just setting the purple lap in that opener. Ben Gleberman, Kalen Berghofer, and AJ Stoner. These guys all equidistant from one another. Pretty much back to 8th or 9th. Daniel Dragunov, Alex Kuchar, and Christopher Yutzi. Watch that. Red and white. Ryan Perry Motorsports OTK. Ben Gleberman trying to get that Tony Kart a little bit closer. Those two out in front. The time being, believe the GFC. Ezekiel Height. Actually not sure custom graphics on the side of that 884, but it's Darren Kidd undoubtedly in the lead there in that 869. He's putting the pressure on early. He's already got a win under his belt today. He would very much like to go back to back. To the stripe, do the second time. Purple lap going to Easton Kabinski. Height, what's the move? Build insurance or go for the point? He'll stay in the tracks. This could be risky because now he has no coverage from Gleberman and Berghofer, closing that gap from behind.
Yeah, Darren Kidd was strong yesterday, had a little bit of bad luck, but was still able to get some good finishes. You see him lunge forward, trying everything he can to try and extend the lead between first and second to the rest of this field. But Ezekiel Height is right on his tail, not giving him any breathing room. Just like what we saw with the senior division, they are just nose to tail here. No one's really getting away from each other. Just a long line of karts. And we saw with Cam Johnson, you set a wheel off, you're going to go straight to the back.
Check back in with Cam. There he is in the 8:10, down but not out. Just set another purple lap, 1:12.724. The only driver on track in the 112s at this moment. Able to make a move on Gordon Lapine. That is one of the new gens, I believe. Andrew Avelos out in front. But will continue to try and charge forward. He's up to P11. That's Daniel Dragunov in the new gen. He just put 5 karts aside. In that last lap, we'll try to set aside another. That's Dragunov. That's good for P10. Dom Gaddis, Jacob Scheibel next on the menu.
Yeah, keep it the battle on Cam Johnson here because he is on a mission to get through this field. And what's amazing is that he's been able to put up, or he was able to put up that fastest time while trying to make all these passes through the field. Now, a part of me wonders, as a driver, after you get off course like that due to someone else's issues, how much, if you're reserving anything, if you're careful, if that's on your mind as you're trying to get back through the field. But for Cam Johnson, he is just legging that car around, making multiple passes a lap. And you can see a little bit of bumper tag there, but he's able to get away. It's interesting to see how many positions he'll be able to gain before we get the checkered flag on this pre-final.
That's Dominic Gaddis. That might be for P8. Now it's the first time there aren't a handful of karts in front of him. He gets some slightly clean air to the nose of that OTK. But he is a man on a mission. And it'll be a purple lap once again. No, that'll go to Easton Kabinski, but Cam Johnson, 3 karts that time around, gets up into P8. Check back in with the front of the field. Darren Kidd, still your leader. Ezekiel Height, Ben Gleberman, Kalen Berghofer, and it's actually Easton Kabinski. That 820 at the tail end of this quintet. Fastest right now. Has got plenty of pace behind that AEM machine, but just has nowhere to go. And we talked about it a little bit earlier on. The difference in wheel-to-wheel racing, you have the same dynamics in how these guys coexist on track as the 206s, but with this extra speed, the extra momentum being thrown into each corner. A lot of the corners that are normally overtaking opportunities in the 206s, not necessarily the case here. It's, again, the window for you to make an overtake just so much smaller, both the gap on track, the actual amount of time you can make that lunge, make that move, make that send. So again, overtaking, just that little bit extra of a premium. 2 minutes on the clock. Call it a 3-kart breakaway now. Gleberman really wrenching that thing in P3. Or excuse me, the 826 of Berghofer ramped up way too much curb there. Had to hang on to it coming out of turn 16. That's cost him a little bit now as Height and Kidd start to break away.
And update Cameron Johnson, he is back up to 7th. Again, clicked off the fastest lap that time around at a 1:12.286. So he could easily, at this rate, get into the top 5, if not the top 3, I believe. So he, like you mentioned, Jackson, he's on a mission. He definitely has the car under him. We've seen all weekend. He has the speed, he has the car under him. He knows this racetrack. You didn't want to have to dig a hole out early on in this event, but he's going to be a factor, I think, before this one, before the checkered flag waves here, at least for the top 5.
All 3-kart effort for Nash Motorsports this weekend. Maddox Carlucci, Wrigley Keys, and then, of course, that guy in P7. But the crew out of Riverside, California, doing everything they can to get their guys to the sharp end of the field. But for Darren Kidd, the pressure is on. 3 laps to go. This time by Kalen Berghofer back on the scene in P3. That Mike Doty Racing L1 kart looking to the inside of Ezekiel Height for P2. No attempt of a crossover, will immediately back off throttle and slot right back in for P2. Another position for Cam Johnson. Puts aside AJ Stoner for P6. Could be right on the back now of Ben Gleberman with another purple lap. You just saw him there for a split second. He is not too back. If this was maybe another 2 minutes of added time, he would absolutely be in conversation for the front of the field right now. But regardless, a brilliant drive from the kid out of Milwaukee, trying to fight his way back to the sharp end of the field. Darren Kidd, though, has been flag to flag essentially after Cam Johnson's fiasco lap number 2. Has held Ezekiel Height, Kalen Berghofer to a T. This could be the lap that changes. A little bit of bumper. Forces Kidd a little bit wide there. to 14 and 15. Actually, it's killed plenty of momentum for that LN. Giving Hot another opportunity. 2 laps to go, point forward. Saying, let's work together, Zeke. Let's get to the front. We need to work together to try and get through Kid. Zeke gives him the help. And it's another new leader, Kalen Berghofer, to the point with 2 to go.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Darren Kidd saw that 2 laps to go. I think he knew that was coming. He's been out in the lead, as you mentioned, for the entire race, but the wick is picked up or heating up when they get that 2 lap to go. And you can see now they are jostling for position here in this lead pack with 2 to go. Always intense when they get the 2 laps to go. And look at our leaders able to gap everyone else. That Cam Johnson right there, I think he's in 4th now.
He just overtook 2 karts in 1 corner. He is a man on a mission. He's back up into, I think, 3rd or 4th. No, he's behind Kabinski, so this will be for P4. Kabinski able to make that move on Gloverman, led the train.
Wow.
Right there, cutting through. This is for 3rd. And CJ's able to get that through and will provisionally be on the inside of row number 2. White flag out coming this time by. I'm not sure if that gap is going to be able to close. They want to build insurance. Berghofer going to go down low to defend. And it makes Zeke work for it. Going around the outside here into I-70. A little bit of a wiggle from Berghofer down low. CJ and company are right there.
If Cameron Johnson could win this pre-final, from being in the grass to winning, I would be worried for that final because he definitely has a kart under him. Look at him go up the outside. This is amazing. What a comeback.
Cam Johnson trying to make it work, going the long way around through the scoreboard, trying to get himself on pole position for the main event. What's he going to be able to do? Just behind there, Kid trying to swing back as well, nearly ramped into the back of that OTK. Through for P2, able to put Berghofer aside. Handful of corners again. He's through for the lead. Unbelievable. Turn number 11. Not out of it yet, though. Height gonna swing back, gets back to the point. Kid trying to go with him, can't make it work. Handful of corners left. That wind could help. What a move. Here's the lunge for the lead. Further back. Kid and Kabinski gonna try and go with him. Cam Johnson from the grass to P1. An absolute juggernaut of a drive. CJ on pole for the main event.
Can you believe it? I thought he was out of it when he went through the grass. I did not believe he'd be able to get back up to the lead. He was, I believe, at least 8 seconds back, or 5 seconds at least, after he went through the grass. Wow. He is going to be the one to watch in that final. He has a kart under him. He can drive. I still can't believe it.
We thought it was going to be a whole new ballgame. We knew Cam was going to work forward from the tail end of the field. But at lap number 2, I don't think either of us were expecting the drive that the kid for Nash Motorsports just put together. 17 positions gained. He's on pole for the main event and is undoubtedly the one to beat here in about an hour time. We need a much needed breather after that. We're going to take a step back for 10 minutes or so. And when we return, it's time to hand out trophies for the 2-stroke drivers. KA Masters coming up here in about 10 minutes.
so in love with you. You got me down again. You
Welcome back to Newcastle Motorsports Park as we are getting ready to hand out our trophies here for the Masters Main as Chris Kuchar, Scott Carapelletti on the front row, followed by Andy Kuchar, Brant Estes, Nathan Williams, Kim Carapelletti, Kevin Solmack, and then the rest of our field. As you see, they are gathering up to get this green flag going for our final race here for KA Masters this afternoon, as we are green here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. And as we've seen all day long, the bottom line, the deferred groove as our brother, the Kuchar brothers, out to the early lead. One car with a little bit of off-roading there. No harm, no foul. Everyone clean through the first couple of corners. Looks like we're getting single file here. That's the 426 496, I believe. No, I'm sorry. 426 of Elliott Volcano. But there are two brothers out in the lead. Looks like we're going to see the same story that we're seeing all week. They're going to try and gap. So that's the field. A little bit farther back, you see there is a gap forming between the first three carts. And I think that would probably be about 5th through 11th. There's our two leaders. Then you see 3rd and 4th not far behind. Then there's that gap between 5th and then the rest of the field. Another cart goes off into the dirt slightly. No harm, no foul. We're going to come around and complete our first lap. Again, this is the final, so it's 12 minutes plus 2 laps. Obviously the longest race that the KA Masters have had here this weekend. And Andy Kuchar in second. Oh, we have trouble in the corner. A spin by the 495. That is Nathan Williams. And you can see another cart. I believe that was the 490. No, that was another cart that came to a stop. That is the 435 of Brant Estes. And if that is correct, he was in 4th that time around. Everyone gets away cleanly. It looks like we're the line of turn, but here is the battle for the lead. Throw a blanket under the top 4. The Kuchar brothers have company early on in this event. See how the drivers in 3rd and 4th, if they stay in line or if they try and break up this family duo that is at the front. We've seen all afternoon the Kuchar brothers are able to kind of get nose to tail and gap everyone in the field, but Brant Estes, I was mistaken, he was not involved in that incident. He is still in 4th, and he just set the fastest lap of the session. As you see, there is company up there for the 2nd position. Chris Kuchar having to defend, I think, for the first time all weekend. We'll see if everyone wants to stay in line, but this is not what we were expecting to see early on in this event. Great to see these 4 carts able to go out into the lead here and battle for this win. Again, the Kuchar brothers are the 2 red carts in front. It is Scott Carapelletti, Brant Estes, 3rd and 4th. Carapelletti in that 406. Trying to break up the family up front. Still a long way to go, 8.5 minutes plus the 2 laps. So plenty of time to make your moves here. Like looking at our track map, these front 4 have broken off from the rest of the field. 1 through 4 on your screen there, then it's 4 seconds back to 5th through about 9th. So if they want something to happen, they're going to have to find some speed quickly. Looks like the Kuchar brothers able to put a slight gap on the straightaways, but the 406 of Scott there not letting them get away. Here is the battle from 5th on back to about 8th and 9th. Again, they're fairly spread out, and we did see that incident in the corner, which really brought everyone to almost a complete standstill with that spin. No damage, I think, to any of those carts, just a minor spin, but they literally had to get on the binders and come to almost a complete stop. And then there's that other pack, that is the lead. The lead 4 coming around to complete another lap. But nothing has changed, still the same top 4 that we've seen pretty much from the start of this event. As they go past the fencing there, interesting to see if they're getting any hand signals from their crew members or not. Some tracks are able to have those crew members right up at the fence and give signals. Others are not. Still single file through this infield section. There's that second pack. It looks like they've gotten things organized and 2 teammates possibly working together there. That's Elliot Bocano and Ethan Bocano. 2 brothers again. So again, this division has so many families racing together. See if the families can have family feuds against 2 families here. We'll see if that's able to come to fruition. As there's the other family, the Kuchar family, going through the infield section. And Andy is the one in the lead. He has actually been the brother that's been following in second for most of the weekend. We'll see if his brother Chris makes a pass on him before this time expires, plus the 2 laps. Things settling out for now, but still over half of this race, or about half of this race to go. A little bit of a look back by Andy there to see where his brother is, as well as if they've been able to put a gap between them and Scott Paralotti and Brant Estes. There is a little bit of a gap forming now between first and second, third and fourth. We'll see if it holds station, but it's not the gap that we've seen in the pre-final and the heat that we saw on Saturday. Looks like Scott and Brant are going to try and work together as much as they can. I'm interested to see if they leapfrog one another and try and see if they're able to catch back up if another driver is in front for the 3rd position. They're just clicking off laps quickly here, as we are down to under 5 minutes to go. Again, this is for all the money. This is for the trophy. This is the final race for KA Master here this weekend in the beautiful Newcastle Motorsports Park. Again, great to see the sun out today after what they had to deal with, especially yesterday morning. Everyone's getting a chance to dry out, as Scott Carapaletti in the 406 still has the fastest lap. So you can see him in that blue cart there in the 3rd position, not letting these guys get away. So you have to wonder, are they buying their time in 3rd? And once they see those popsicle sticks 2 laps to go, is that when they're going to start making their move? As Andy Kuchar continues to lead through this infield tight corner section. Again, 18 turns, part of the circuit here at Newcastle Motorsports Park that we are racing here this weekend. A lot of passing zones, a lot of straightaway action as well. Some high speeds, and we've seen that bite some guys this weekend, locking up the brakes, going off track. As we're continuing to see if the Kuchar brothers are able to stay out front. They're getting a little bit of a gap, but we'll see if it begins to accordion back. As Jackson had to take a little bit of a break. He's back with us now. Jackson, great to join us. Take it away.
Trophy time here for Casters, 3.5 minutes on the clock. And a look to the inside. Chris going to try the inside of Andy here into I-70. That'll be a deal. How about this? Good recovery from Brant Estes as well. As, a little bit of a swing back. Andy going to try the inside into the fishhook and will be able to get there. Back and forth. The Kuchars go. And Carapalotti getting a fair shot now thanks to these 2 battling it out. Brant Estes just behind in the battle as well. What has truly evolved here, right into a 4-cart battle for victory here in KA Masters.
Yeah, I was mentioning just a few laps ago. Surprising to see, given what we've seen all weekend, but maybe some adjustments made in that short break for the 406 and the 435s, or they're just turning up the action now that they know the finals are here. I was mentioning, if you're Scott, are you just buying your time and waiting for the 2 laps to go? We've seen that all weekend. Once the 2 laps to go comes out at the start-finish line, it's almost like all heck breaks loose, especially with all the division. But we have ourselves a race here this afternoon.
Again, definitely the heat being a factor is another swap here. Kuchar going to try to go to the inside. Karapalati not within striking distance to go with him. But the heat definitely being an additional factor with so many different factors and what could, be a consumable, what could affect the performance if you overdrive the karts. These MG tires have been working hard the past 2 days. And with the ambient temps higher, crucially with the track temps even higher, you're asking a lot from your one set of tires you get from the start of heat racing. Again, the last thing you want to do is overdrive the kart too soon. Do everything, ask everything from the tires in the pre-finals, and then have nothing left in the tank by the time you ask them to go full attack for the main event. I think that's something for a lot of guys that had to drive from the midfield. Mick Gabriel, Cameron Johnson, 2 guys we're really going to have to look at and see if they can, if they're put against the wall like that and have to do a gargantuan drive like that in the pre-final, if the tires are going to be able to potentially hold up. But here we go. 3 laps left for K.A. Master. Kuchar's been swapping. Andy back in second. Chris to the point. Grant Estes studying the rear end of the 406. Scott Karapalati trying to get that bottom step of the podium. A little bit more breathing room now as we head into the shark fin once again.
Yeah, the difference between today and what we saw in the pre-final and yesterday is, yes, the Kuchars are out in front, but if they start battling for the lead, they're going to have Karapalati and Estes right on their tail. So it's interesting to see, are they going to wait till the final lap if the brothers decide to try and make passes on each other as we're back farther in the field. Again, as we've seen all weekend, this division really gets spread out across this racetrack. This is, I believe, 5th, 6th, 7th that you see on your screen.
Ethan and Elliot Bacano wheel to wheel there, 427 and 426 in 5th and 6th respectively. But further back, Ken Simonellic in the 420 comp kart. And here we go. If they haven't had the clock mentally, they're about to get a reminder of just how little time they have left. Twin sticks are out. Andy Kuchar's made a handful of moves here into I-70. Won't do it this time. Follows with Chris, middle of the track. Again, Chris just trying to keep that red speed as wide as humanly possible. If he has to go inside or outside, make that track as narrow as humanly possible. Make that gap as hard to navigate for the guy behind you. He's backed up the field a little bit. That's brought Karapalati and Estes back into the mix.
And don't forget that move that Karapalati made on the final lap in the pre-final. I think it caught Andy Kuchar off guard. You remember, he didn't realize that he had a car on side of him. He was able to split those 2 brothers up. So Scott is known, already made it known, I should say, that he is willing to make some moves on the final lap, and they're making their way through. They're about halfway through this lap, and they're going to get the white flag here in about 30 seconds or so. And you can see there's Andy looking behind him again, trying to see how much the gap is if he wants to start battling his brother here for the lead. But we're going to have a heck of a race coming to this white flag.
For Scott Karapalati, this is a paramount run out of turn 16 to try and get to the middle of them. But it's all about Andy trying to go to the outside of Chris. Forced to walk the tightrope into I-70. Maybe a crossover on exit. He's doing the same on Karapalati. Neither able to get there. Not enough of a run there from Andy either to go to the inside of the shark fin. But again, Kuchar continues to defend here in the opening handful of laps. That's kept everybody honest. Estes looking to the inside, trying to get that bottom step of the podium and take it away from Karapalati. Has to back out of it. That just cut all the momentum for the 406, and that will evolve into a fully fledged duel for the bottom step of the podium. Karapalati taken away and building a gap on Estes, but Andy Kuchar, P2, running out of opportunities, running out of time. Family members from Ohio, MCC regulars coming out to Apex. It'll be a 1-2, but which Kuchar comes out on top through the 90s for the final time? Andy gonna have to bank it all on one final run out of 15 and 16 if he can make it work. Won't be able to get there. Chris Kuchar gonna win on Sunday here at Indy.
Fist bump between the brothers after the finish. Good clean racing out of them. I mean, good clean racing out of everyone. We only had a minor spin. No damage to the karts, but what a race we had there between all four karts. The top four were neck and neck that whole event.
Good clean racing. And potentially
Look
a
at the
late
family
surge for
members.
Grant Estes, just not. Yeah, Kuchar. First and second. Bacano, fifth and sixth. Simon Alex, Kevin over Ken, seventh and eighth. That's cool stuff, man. Chris Kuchar, your winner here for our first of the main event. Step aside for just a moment when we return. IAME Micro Swift, main event on deck.
Cat food marketing. $9.99 a month.
Dude, Caleb, wake up. Dude, we're live in 5 minutes. Let's go. Come on. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry. Xander had me in a cat food marketing meeting till like 2 a.m. last night.
Come on, man.
Do you have anything I can drink?
Dude, I got the perfect thing for you. Perico. It's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Perico, non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, magnesium, B12, B6,
Yeah, it's good.
B5, biotin, and zero sugar? Pericazo! Try Perico, made with natural ingredients, organic caffeine, and supports your metabolism. Try the new official energy drink of Kart Chaser.
Hey guys, another Kart Chaser driver fitness episode with me, Chris G. Today, I'm gonna show you how to protect those ribs in the seat. We're doing core. Exercise number 1 is the bench leg raise. Controlled all the way down, full range of motion. Make sure you pick up that tailbone off the pad. Coming down, controlling. Great for the lower abdomen area and obliques. Floor slider mountain climbers, exercise number 2. Exercise number 3, the plate-loaded decline bench sit-up. I'll see you guys on the next episode of Chris G Coaching, race-ready training that carries into real life. That's what we do here.
This is going to be fun as we get ready to go for IAME Micro Swift. And for the first time, a drop for Kip Naus. Sees him on the outside of row number 2. James Fox, the first one to get in front of that 266 today. This weekend at that, TJ Akers and Remy Boss on row number 2. Miles Hale, Jackson Sloan On row 3, Toby Blue, Wyatt Burlesman with Tom DeLong and Brett Blue. Coming through the 90s again, making sure everyone is bunched up. We mentioned it yesterday. I'll mention it again here. No waved off starts if you've noticed. And specifically, the kiddos in Micro and Mini really like punching off early. The solution here, and my guys in the booth can correct me if they do this as well for the Stars Championship Series, a start zone very similar to what we've got in the NASCAR National Series now, and an area where the leader can punch off, getting the confirmation that is in Stars, but you have a certain area where you can punch off. If you go early behind and the leader hasn't gone yet, penalty coming your way. So it's in the hands of James Fox, waiting for that right foot to drop and go racing for 11 minutes and change. We've got the green flag. IAME Micro main event is underway. Kip now's on the high side, immediately slots down from the outside for P2. Not a lot of a reaction there from that inside lane. Remy Boss gonna get that full shot over TJ Akers, Miles Hale. I feel like one of the guys we really haven't talked about too much here, Brett. 215 of Miles Hale. Been one top card out in front, but Miles Hale has been really racy, had phenomenal pace. We'll see what he can do, but that other top cart starting to fend off already. Kip now is trying to get to work.
Yeah, look at Remy Boss, though, in that bright reddish-orange cart you see there. He's not letting these two leaders get away either. He's been strong. I think he faded a little bit in the pre-final, but he is right there on the bumper, it looks like almost, of Kip Knaus. Yes, there you can see our top three pretty much evenly spread out. Again, there goes the helmet down. I mean, they try everything they can to get some sort of advantage when they have these straightaways.
Kipnaus opening it up through 15. Trying to use all power, those 60 cubic centimeters. Flick to the inside, across the stripe. Not too much of a fight there from James Fox. Kipnaus gets back to the point on lap number 2. That'll bring Remy Boss further back in that highlighter orange machine. One card off. Oh, nearly swapping ends for Miles Hale further back in the 215. He got off throttle and backed out of it. That could have been a big moment for that fellow top cart a little bit further back.
Yeah, he scrubbed off a lot of speed doing that, so he's going to have to put his head down, literally and figuratively, and try and catch back up, because these guys are in a league of their own. The top three of Kip Knaus, James Fox, Remy Boss. We'll see if anyone else is able to challenge them, but I think this will be our, actually who's that in fourth? I think that's TJ Akers. So TJ Akers, you see him kind of slowly back there, kind of creeping his way through. So he could become a factor before this race is over, especially when they're tightening up like this for the lead.
Behind the wheel of a Magic in another episode for Jackson's I Did Not Know That chassis brand. Paid a cadet, but he's further back in P4. Same thing with Coyote. I mean, it goes to figure, right? You want to make a full range for a full category of drivers. But TJ Akers jumping out of the GFC earlier on this morning, getting behind the wheel of the Magic. And TJ trying to drive like AJ. At 254. 9 minutes to go on the clock. Kip Knaus. James Fox, the breakaway right now. Purple lap for Kip. 119.423. 1969 for James Fox. 8-1 for Remy Boss. So all of these guys pretty much in lockstep in terms of pace, fractions of tenths, separating them out on track. But again, very tame right now from James Fox in P2. Waiting for the tail end, just trying to stay in conversation with Kip in front. Not really in a spot right now where he feels like he has the pace to necessarily break away, so we'll just stay tucked in behind the rear bumper of that 266.
Yeah, it looks like they're starting to gap themselves a little bit by Remy Boss, but as we saw in the pre-final, it just takes 2 laps of these drivers mixing it up to bring in the whole rest of the field. So you can see there goes James Fox looking behind him to see how much of a gap there is. They've only gapped them about a second and a half, so Jackson, you said that's not enough really to start slicing it up for the lead if you don't want the other drivers to catch up as we get a look farther back in the field. That is Miles Hale, I believe, that went off earlier, trying to recover and make it some additional passes after he did that rendezvous, I guess you would say, through the grass.
That's Wyatt Barrelsman in P5 out in front. The 221 Kart Republic is behind Toby Blue, Jackson Sloan, and Tom DeLong. All part of this freight train further back in the battle for the bottom half of the field. Good pace from Miles Hale earlier on, but again, as Brett mentioned, that mistake sent him back 2 or 3 positions. He is on the recovery drive. I thought that potentially we had to swap out in front. These 2 karts are the exact same color. That does not make it easy for us in the booth. What does make it easy is the white and orange out in front. There's the move to the inside. Miles Hale through green corner. Done deal there. 4P4, maybe not here because we work our way into the 90s. Good recovery from Wyatt Barrelsman, able to cross him up and fight back for that position.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just me, but it looks like maybe it's just the paint on Wyatt's front bumper, but it looks like there's a dent almost in the front of his bumper, but it might just be my eyes deceiving me. It might be the shadow from just some of the different paints and things they have on that kart, but you can see this is a good battle here that we have going on for 5th through about 8th. As, oh, wow. Looks like Miles Hale was going to try something there, but overdrove the corner, is going to try and gather himself back up and maybe make another charge up there for that 5th position.
I told you guys that the wind was a little bit less violent today than it is yesterday. That's actually the other way around. 12 miles an hour gusts yesterday. We were up to 16 earlier. As you can see by the flags, it is still very violent right now. And it is directly a headwind in this part of the racetrack. The run out of the cell tower. Ooh, wide exit there for Naus. Door was open for James Fox. I think he might have gone off throttle potentially. Again, doesn't want to make a move, even going too wide. We'll check them up. He wants to build that gap to the remainder of the field, now at 3.2 seconds. Nearly doubling now, up to 5 seconds over Remy Boss. I think our production guys, though, maybe found some mic covers there to make it a little bit less violent to the ears. But case in point, it is windy out here in the Indiana Plains. That makes wheel-to-wheel racing in some parts of this racetrack a little bit better. More opportunities. Go and set up a run.
Yeah, I'll just say, as a former person who used to call the Midwest home for a few years while I was working my way up through the broadcasting industry, you know, those open fields and the flat land that they have out here, very conducive to windy conditions, even on the calmest day, which like you see today. But like you said, it can create some interesting dynamics for racers and karting and IndyCar, just any kind of motorsports that happens in Indiana. But that's also a good thing that these kids will learn about wind and how it buffers the car and how they can use it to their advantage. So they're learning a lot here this weekend. Yesterday with the rain, today with the wind. As you can see, we are still battling. Miles Hale looks like he was able to get by Wyatt Barrelsman and get into the 5th position as we have 4 minutes left on the clock. So we still have plenty of racing to go. But Miles making a comeback after going through the grass briefly about right at the start of the race, about I think 2 minutes into the race or so. And there is Remy Boss. I think Remy is pretty much in a land of his own, 6 seconds off the lead, but 2 seconds in front of the 4th place position. So when you say Sunday drive, that's really what Remy Boss has to do for the rest of this race if he wants to hold on to that 3rd place position.
3.5 minutes to go. Now still over Fox. Boss 8 seconds and change back. Akers as well on an island of his own. I think something you can also carry over from the dirt side, Brett, and kind of the frustrations for trying to build grids is the different rule sets, different technical regulations, different adjustments that some of these guys that, you know, aren't full-time racers, aren't pro racers, have to do to go and race on the weekends. And what I think Apex has done very well is adapting to a system that is very good, both technically and rulebook wise, for this part of America, specifically this MG Briggs IAME combo. Again, plenty of 206 racers out here. DKNA Grands means it'll be in abundance. And of course, IAME prevalent throughout the Midwest and the Southwest of America. But crucially, the MG tires already being used normally, Route 66 Sprint Series, Florida Karting Championship, pretty much every regional series in the Midwest and the Southwest. That's made things very, very easy for people to prep for races. It feels already like something they're used to. It's engine platforms that they're already used to. It just makes things easy, and I think that's a huge incentive when you're trying to build a grid. And I think that's why in all 10 of our classes we've got double-digit entries for our opening weekend here in a brand new region.
Yeah, it's important to have series like Apex. We had it, you mentioned, I had it in the Dirt series I used to cover. They called it a working man series, where, you know, they worked their 9 to 5 during the week, but then they went out and raced on the weekends. So I guess you would call this like a working family series. You know, kids go to school during the week, mom and dad work 9 to 5, but they could easily, you know, load up their cart and go racing on the weekend. And that you need series like that to build these drivers that can't make racing full time. You know, it's expensive. A lot of people still need to have their normal jobs during the week, but you can see they're putting on a clinic here in the back. Speaking of jobs, they are working hard making some of these passes. It looks like that Miles Hale has gone back to the 6th position. They've been swapping it back and forth multiple times throughout this race.
Full 4-kart battle that we were believing was going to evolve. And indeed, the duel between Blue and Sloan has snowballed into a 4-kart battle. They've caught up to Berlsman and Hale. None of these guys able to get a breakaway. Just goes to show you that with these karts, these engines, how strong the draft is, even with extra power moving up from a 206 to an IAME Swift. But 3 laps to go. Kip Nouse, James Fox, Remy Boss provisionally on the podium. Not sure where TJ Akers is now on track, if they'll potentially battle for that bottom spot on the podium. Might be closer than we think. One thing we know for sure, it is getting very, very close right now for first and second. Looks like we will actually now get to the 3-lap warning between Kip Nouse and James Fox.
Yeah, they came to the line close.
Phenomenal battle.
There was only about 5 seconds left on the clock, but it's down. It has to be down to 0 when they cross the line for them to get the 2 to go. So as you mentioned, they are now on the 3 to go, along with these other drivers as well. As we're still watching this battle, Miles Hale able to get back out in front of Wyatt Berlsman, and they've been swapping it. I mean, here they go again. They've been swapping it back and forth almost every lap. So they're having some fun out there, obviously also learning a lot. But when you're making those passes, they're not able to catch up to any of the other karts. But like I said, everyone is looking at our track map fairly well spread out. As you can see, Remy Boss has company in the form of TJ Akers. Remy was running by himself, and it looks like Akers was able to track him down.
Yeah, I thought this battle was going to develop here for P3. Slow start for Akers behind the wheel of the Magic, but has ultimately caught up to Remy here in P3. And out in front, Twin Sticks coming out. Kip Nouse, James Fox. Is James Fox ready to make a move? He's been looking at the back of that cart a little bit further back, and now the study session begins for TJ Akers, trying to make a move. Let's go back up to the front. Kip Nouse pretty much flag a little bit of a trade out in front early on in this race. But for the most part, Kip Nouse has overtaken, I think, lap 2 or 3 for the lead. James Fox knew it was going to be a battle that maybe wouldn't be worth fighting. You've seen it in the midfield. It's hard to get a run, hard to get a breakaway here. If you have a dance partner, there's a good chance that pass is going to come back to bite you almost immediately. So this becomes the timing game for James Fox, making sure if he's able to make a pass, doing it late enough the closing stanzas of this micro final that Kip Naus won't be able to swing back.
They also have a 14-second lead, so there they go. There goes James Fox trying to make that pass. Now, is that pass too early where Kip Knaus will be able to swap the lead back? So Kip let him go, it looks like, and I'd be interested to see if Kip is able to mount the guard as we get the white flag. If Kip is able to mount a charge down the front stretch, you can see he has a run.
Kip looking for his second win of the season, coming off a victory for round 1 of the Club Series at Trackhouse. And for James Fox, looking for his first victory in a cadet period at the regional level would be a huge win for the kid behind the wheel of the top cart. Working our way out of the second shark fin into the cell tower, back up over the hill. Fox has done a very good job of not necessarily building a gap, but certainly keeping this 266 at bay. Not a lot of time left here as we work our way through turn 11. Kip Naus trying to make a move there later on, but just has not been able to cut through and make it work. And again, a lot of driving for James Fox already this season. Full-time guy we've seen at IKC, at K1 Circuit Whiteland. But there could be no victory sweeter than this for either of these gentlemen. Through the 90s for the final time. Kip Naus gonna try and drag race it. Oh, and almost a premature celebration, but James Fox getting it done, picks up his maiden regional level victory. Gets it done here on Sunday at Newcastle. Remy Boss trying to lock down that final step on the podium. Anchor's gonna try to upset those plans. Jake of the Fist not able to get there. Remy Boss gonna join Kip Naus and James Fox on the podium.
Good racing there. James Fox, Kip Knaus. Kip, of course, we mentioned, he dominated yesterday. So, I mean, it wasn't easy for Fox to get that win, but look at the margin of victory there. They were just neck and neck all race long. And James Fox comes out on top, taking home that trophy. That's what they all came here for this weekend.
Gonna be party time for the top cart paddock. But we look on to Isaac Malkit, Eli War in your front row for the main event for KA100 Senior. We'll introduce you to the full field when we come back here from Newcastle.
Macron Motorsports builds champions every day, drivers who won on the world stage. The Tillotson T4 Series is pure spec racing. Same engine, same chassis. When you win, it's because you were the best that day. Your edge is not the kart. It's the setup, the strategy, and the race team. With our Arrive and Drive program, you simply bring your gear, we provide the equipment and the championship-winning support to every event. Stop wrenching, start racing. Your path to the T4 Nations Cup in Spain starts with us. For more information, contact us at macronmotorsports.net.
Gee, looks like we're missing an engine. What the hell am I supposed to tap?
What do you mean? It's my Greyhound. It's all I need.
Where's the rest of it?
It doesn't matter. It's a Greyhound.
You gotta make weight. Okay, you're good.
I'm sitting by here with Kyle, our race winner. Tell me how you did it. You were blazing fast out there, and I mean, you don't even have a go-kart, man. Tell me about it.
Yeah, Norberg, Schmorberg, the Greyhound-powered Greyhound was great today. It makes the difference. And the team's been working really hard back at the shop, and, just shout out Greyhound.
Thank you, Kyle. How the did you just win?
Isaac Malkit, untouchable to this point, rolls off on pole position That LN Kart for Mike Doty Racing will be alongside Eli Warren for the KA Senior main event. Chris McKeithen and Mick Gabriel just behind in row number 2. Mason Surgener and Addison Ianella, Wyatt Leslie, Wrigley Keys, Lucian Laser, and Ian Quinn roll out your top 10. And a little bit further back, Adam Maxwell, Ben Lida, Alex Klusko, Elijah Skaggs, Mason Galen, David Barker, Miles Fodry, Dylan White, Macy Galen, and Landon Buer rounding out your top 20. 27 karts in the grid. Colin Flynn, Tyler Sims, Mason Ward, Aiden Lorenko, Levi Getz, Barstos Bazinski, and Felix Catch round out your field of 27. Again, 12 minutes and 2 laps distance for this main event. The main question, can anyone stop this dominance from Isaac Malkit in the one that matters? It could be Eli Warren. It could be Chris McKeithen on the inside of row number 2. Mick Gabriel's been jonesing for a win here for a long time. Who's going to take it? Let's find out. Let's go racing in the KA Senior main event. Gabriel down low further back. He moves in the opening lap. A couple of karts going a little bit wide through I-70. But we are up and away. And Isaac Malkit, Eli Warren, first 2 to break away. A little bit of side bump contact. Wyatt Leslie, Wrigley Keys getting into scoreboard corner for the first time. Keys gonna try to go on the inside. That's Wyatt Leslie, and the Ellen Kart further back. Trouble.
No.
Keys going around, and I think that might have been Addison Ianello getting collected in one of the Coyote karts. First blood comes quick here in the KH Senior main event.
I was about to say they were going to get through that lap all cleanly, but then we haven't seen a lot of issues in that corner today where they did find trouble. So interesting that that was where they found trouble, but that's what happens when you put a trophy in front of these guys. As you can see, the 997 of Eli Warren got a little bit tires off onto the dirt, broke his momentum, and now he's being challenged for third by Mick Gabriel.
Here comes Mick Gabriel. Not enough momentum there. Popped out just a little bit too early and killed all that momentum. Coming out of turn 16, Christopher McKeithen, who had a very dramatic pre-final, was involuntarily one of the guys that kind of sealed the deal and putting Malkit on pole. I believe it was contact with this guy right here, Eli Warren. 997 coming up and over the hill. But crucially here, Mick Gabriel trying to fend off Eli Warren, trying to close that gap. The pressure needs to be applied early on here because we've seen it time and time again with clean air and no pressure from behind. Malkit can fly.
Yeah, I was about to say, it looked like Malkit was trying to extend his lead already, but it looks like Eli Warren and the rest of them are trying to keep him in his sights. And every time they go down that, no matter the division, every time they go down that straightaway there, everyone puts their head down, again, trying to get as much advantage as they can. Every little bit counts, especially on a day like today when the track is fast, it's clean, it's rubbered up. As you can take a look, there are leaders. Looks like we're going to have a pass there for, ooh, that was a little tight there. That was for third and fourth, I believe. As you can see, Mick Gabriel trying to make a run now onto our leader of Isaac Malkut. Still got about a 2 or 3 kart length gap there, and there is third and fourth. They swapped around. Now, do they try and get a line and catch up to our first and second place driver?
Addison Ianello, Lucian Laser, David Baker, the free part of that opening lap carnage. I think we just lost another as well because I heard someone with a very loose exhaust. You could hear with how loud it was for the track audio. And that is one parked early on. That might be, oh, it's Ward with, yeah, that broken exhaust. Didn't even make it back to the pits, parked it early on. So that's Mason Ward and 999. That top cart having issues during the pre-final. And unfortunately, that bad luck is going to continue, looking like Ward will end his day 20 on the timing sheet. Wrigley Keys, and being told, still going in the 906 Nash Motorsports machine. Again, further back, I think P20 out on track. Mick Gabriel, fastest on track, 112.817. hot on the heels of Isaac Malkit. Almost feels like deja vu right now for the AEM pilot. You rewind the clock to round number 1 of the Route 66 Sprint Series. Isaac Malkit by about a quarter of a second, taking victory on Sunday. Eerily familiar right now as the veteran again tries to track down the young gun from the southeast, his first ever handful of months here, moving up from junior into senior. He has been phenomenal on debut.
You can hear just the amount of force these drivers are putting into the corners. You can hear the tires squealing. We were able to hear that yesterday due to the winds. But again, I mean, there is a huge headwind down that back straightaway when they put their head down. I mean, with a wind like that, it may help actually cut through some of the force of the wind that may slow down the cart. As they're taking a look farther back now. I think this is 5th and 6th, I believe. Mason and Ian Quinn. Ian Quinn, I expected more out of him. Still has a long way to go in this race, but he's currently in the 6th position. But he was really back. He was up there in that lead battle, I believe, in the pre-final.
Still plenty of time. Just made that move on Mason Surgener for P5. Wyatt Leslie doing the same on Landon Bueller. Excuse me, other way around. Bueller making that move on Leslie for P7. As we check back in a little bit further back, the start is a big way of setting the tone, even for these longer main events. And you get knocked into certain groups very quickly. And you rewind the clock to that carnage with Wrigley Keys, Addison Ianello, Lucian Laser. It's little things like that, or in this case, big things like that, that go a long way in helping to break people up into smaller groups and give guys an opportunity to go and break away. But on single lap pace right now, I'll have to wait and see. I'm not entirely sure where they are relative. It's definitely enough for that stealth cart Perel Art Machine of Quinn to at least get a little bit of breathing room over Mason Surgener. Unfortunately for the remainder of this field, Malkit started to set sail again, half a second over Mick Gabriel.
Yeah, I was about to say Malkit is setting sail, and I think Mick Gabriel might be dropping back, maybe eventually into the clutches of Eli Ward and Christopher McKeithen. Let's keep an eye on that as the event continues. But Isaac Malkit definitely has a great cart under him. I mentioned this before, it must be so frustrating if you're a Mick Gabriel in second. You're pushing your cart to the limit, and you're just seeing Isaac Malkit just continue to extend his lead and get smaller in your visor, and there's really nothing you can do about it.
I think the only question we gotta ask is Mick Gabriel potentially saving something? How much has Isaac Malkit been sawing at the wheel? How much left are in those MG tires in terms of grip? Mick Gabriel's had to make a lot of moves on track. Can't really say the same for Isaac Malkit. He's been up front. He stayed out front. He's been incredibly smooth at the helm of that Lando Norris kart. He is a tough cookie to beat. We've seen it all weekend long. Set the tone early from Sunday morning. Still with 4.5 minutes on the clock. Plenty of time for Gabriel, McKeithen, Warren. Try and reel him in. For the back, Chris McKeithen just coming into view here. Has been able to make that move on Eli Warren.
It looks like McKeithen, as you mentioned, has been moved up into that 3rd position. Now he's going to have to try and set his sights with 4 minutes left, 4 + 2 laps. Set his sights on Mick Gabriel or Isaac Malkit. You can see there is, I believe that is Mick right in front of him. We're still looking at the battle that I thought we're looking at. So he has a chance of catching Mick Gabriel. I don't know if there's an issue with that car or if the handling's gone away on Mick, but he's going to go into the clutches here, it looks like, of these drivers in 3rd and 4th.
Landon Bueller in the 920 GFC able to make that move stick on the MPG Kart Republic. Mason Surgener in the 945. These guys have swapped positions a handful of times. Has been costly for both of them. As again, Ian Quinn starting to build a little bit more of a gap now. As it stands, Chris McKeithen looking firmly planted on that final step of the podium. Eli Warren trying to close that gap. I'm still going to say don't call it done yet because I'm seeing shades of blue and white get a little bit closer to that dark blue of Isaac Malkit. Again, not over until the fat lady sings.
Yeah, we've seen that this weekend. It looks like he hit the curb a little bit there too, so it just takes a couple of corners to get offline, and Mick Gabriel will be there to pounce there in that 934 kart. Again, putting that head down, trying to cut through the breeze, anything that Isaac Malkut can do to get an advantage because he has no one around him to draft off of. I'm interested to see what the interval is here at the line. If it's extended, it has extended slightly. Now it's at a 1.382 between Isaac and Mick Gabriel, first and second.
Battle is on for P3 right now as the GFC of Eli Warren, well, just pulled to the side. Oh my goodness, what's happened? Eli Warren on the exit. Something is given up in that GFC.
He's done.
He has climbed out and abandoned ship there. 997 will end his day, and that'll essentially lock it up for Chris McKeithen as well. Borderline uncontested here in P3. P4, very different story. Landon Buer getting to the front now, making that move. That pair is caught up to Ian Quinn, and the GFC able to be the first one to make the move. A little bit of a nudge there from Surgeoner to the tail end of Quinn. GFC, Burrell Art, Kart Republic, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
That's a dogfight back here. You saw that contact. Ian Quinn, Landon Buer, they are neck and neck, and then you see there's a cart in right behind them as well that may be able to join this battle, but heartbreaker for Eli Warren. He was running in the 4th position, and in the late stages of this race, something obviously let go on that cart as this battle continues. This is probably the best battle we have on the track right now within our top 10.
Again, with the national schedules of a lot of our guys further up, it's hard to say how much we're going to see those guys out in front. This could be provisional battles for the championship. And again, when you only have 3 rounds, you got to think big picture early on. Good crossover here from Surgeoner as he tries to roll that momentum up and over the hill into the green corner. We're nearly 3 wide. Adam Maxwell joining the fray, that yellow helmet in the 41. One cart dropping a tire in the grass, fully off. Wyatt Leslie, Adam Maxwell going on a big time rally and just gives it way too much there coming into Cell Tower.
You know, I got nervous when I saw them go 3 wide there briefly, and I think what we haven't talked about much today is when you get on that outside line, there's a ton of marbles, I'm sure. We didn't really have that issue yesterday with how much rain we had, but it looked like he was out in those marbles and that cart would not turn and he went off into the grass. You've got to be careful if you go offline battling when you're 3 wide, but looks like things have calmed down. Catch our breath, calmed down, eased out for now as we continue to watch some of these other battles across the racetrack.
Here is Mick Gabriel, the 934 AEM machine. Seasoned veteran. Unfortunately, not able to keep up like the remainder of this field with the Rocket Man Isaac Malkit at the sharp end of the field. And here he is, your Florida Winter Tour champion in VLR Junior. Last trophy he got before moving up to senior and came out like a rocket. KA100 senior winner at round number 1 here at Route 66 a couple days ago. Went over to MCC, ran Battalion to Karts, got victory there as well in KA100 Pro-Am. And looking to find that kick in the pants to really get his national season going. Timer hitting 0 here. And even still, with 2 laps to go, McKeithen and Mick Gabriel driving the snot out of the karts in 2nd and 3rd. Trying to close that gap out in front. Ian Quinn still leading that quartet over Buer, Leslie, and Mason Surgeoner. But Isaac Malkut, after a roller coaster year to get us started, just needs a couple more corners to seal victory here in Indiana.
You mentioned this championship, it's only the first round, but way to start the first round if you're able to bring this home, Isaac Malkut. And again, I believe if I read correctly, the championship, these champions will head to the Charlotte area for the Trackhouse Motorplex finale later this fall. So go from one home of racing in Indiana to another in Charlotte, North Carolina to win this championship.
Rocket Kid behind the wheel of the Mike Doty Racing Lando Norris Kart. And Mick Gabriel, Christopher McKeithen, long tenured guys racing out here, have simply put not been able to respond to the white hot pace this kid has had. Statement made from NDR. And for Ike, race number 3-1 at the senior level. He's victorious in KA Senior here at Indy.
As you mentioned, that was quite the performance by Isaac Malcutt. I believe he led almost all the laps, if not all of them. I think maybe on the start he got passed briefly, but what a good way to start round one, as we were mentioning. Strong performance, almost a 3-second lead across the line.
Landon Buer in the GFC having issues as well. Again, he was fighting for that P4 spot, fell back, I believe, to P15, but Ian Quinn winning that big doghouse battle from P4 on back. Mason Surgener, Adam Maxwell, Ben Lyda, Levi Getz, Dylan White, Alex Aculcio, rounding out your top 10. Step aside for just a moment here from Indy when we return back over to the cadets with Minnie Swift.
Are you stuck with your kart racing? Not sure the ideal kart setup? Or going to a track for the first time? Well, Kart Class has the answers for you. Our online portal has a wealth of experience and knowledge to help your kart racing. From kart setup advice to track guides that are targeted specifically to your circuit, or the driver coaching aspects with mindset, racecraft and driving techniques. If you want to take your karting to the next level, visit us at kartclass.com.
Are you looking to take the next step in your racing journey? Well, look no further than PitFit.
With 2 locations in Charlotte, North Carolina and Indianapolis, Indiana, PitFit trains drivers all the way from grassroots level karting to IndyCar and NASCAR, with top-of-the-line personalized coaching to improve physical and cognitive fitness.
For more information on programs, check out PitFit on Instagram or Facebook today.
Hey guys, I'm Chris G. I'm Kart Chaser's driver fitness coach, and today I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to strengthen your shoulders for more endurance and better stability in the kart. Here we go. Okay, so exercise number 1 is the front rope pull-through cable raises. Okay, now this is the upright cable row. What you are doing here is you're picking a straight bar, as you see, and we're working the side areas of our shoulders, the medial. Exercise number 3, the dumbbell shrugs. As you guys can tell, I like to pause at the top before releasing. It's great for your strength, for that wheel stability. It's great for those shoulders and that upper back area. Chris G coaching, race-ready training that carries into real life. That's what we do here. See you on the next one.
Champions aren't just born on the kart track. At SimShop, we deliver professional-grade simulators with the best performance-to-price ratio in the industry. Founded by racers who understand what you need, our SimMagic and Moza equipment is powerful enough for the pros, yet affordable for everyone. With unmatched customer support and a thriving community, we're your racing partner. Visit simshop.com today.
Paulie Massimino wins the Wisconsin Grand Prix. James Overbeck on start number 2 gets win number 1 in OKN Stars.
On track or off, Brandon Jarsekrak Racing delivers elite performance. Led by 4-time Pro National Champion Brandon Jarsekrak, our team masters driver coaching, data-driven analysis, and mechanical precision at every national event. Contact us today at BrandonJarsekrakracing.com.
Karting isn't just speed. It's control, precision, freedom. At Atlanta Motorsports Park, Kart Freedom isn't just a team. It's where drivers are made.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us.
Ready to go racing here in IAME Mini for the main event. Hudson Howard undefeated behind the wheel of his Kart Republic for Jay Howard Driver Development. Alongside Slate Harrell, Evan Leish making it a KR123. Ruben Greer for a new gen in P4. Maddox Carlucci for Nash Motorsports, the Energy Corsa. Number 100 will be in 5th. Caden Torino in the 142 Kart. Bo Laser, Anderson Hemphill, Light Simon Alex, Silas Johnson round out your top 10. Trying to build our grid here. Apex Finals October 22nd to 24th at Trackhouse Motorplex. Place that, of course, our own Red Ball got to learn very well here a couple weeks back.
Yes, love that racetrack. I've done my rental karts on there, but it's a whole different story when you send these professionals out there. Love that track. Well, I'll definitely be out there if I'm not working just to watch this event. It's a cool place to go, right down the street also from all the motorsports shops in NASCAR as well as IndyCar if you're counting Penske. But still a long way to go before that championship. We got to get this mini final round 1 done here as they're about to come off the final corner and take the green in just a matter of seconds.
An ultimate main event as we get ready to go racing. Slate Harrell on the outside. For Chase Jones, it is exactly the way he wants it. An MPG 1-2-3. Ruben Greer, Caden Torino, Maddox Carlucci going to try and change those plans as we go racing for the final. Early pop-up down low for Carlucci. Got back up into line. Hudson Howard going to arrowhead them out of the second straightaway into the shark fin for the first time.
Oh my goodness.
That's Evan Leish. Oh, big stack up further back. Caden Taruno. That might have been Light Simon Nellick, Johnson, and Daly. 4 carts collected at the very top of the shark fin.
I think there was 4 carts that stopped, but at least half the field, I think, was involved in that. You can see in the background some of them slowly coming around. But here are our top 4, the 4th car in line, a little bit of a gap, but that was a wild turn of events there on that first lap. But just like what we've been seeing all weekend here is Hudson Howard and Slate Harrell 1 and 2. Hudson giving himself a little bit of a peekaboo behind to see how close Slate Harrell is, but they've also got a friend there in 3rd position. So it's not just the Hudson and Harrell show. They've got some company.
I wouldn't call him a friend, Brett. That's Ruben Greer behind the wheel of the new Gen 120. He has been sick of Kart Republics out of this MPG tent being out in front. He wants to be the meat of this sandwich. He's gotten one. He's nearly gotten two. He might have taken a little bit too much of a bite. No, he's able to slot in for P2. And a lead change immediately. Hudson Howard swinging back through the shark fin. Ruben Greer making a statement, though. I've got no intentions of working with you guys.
Yeah, Ruben Greer kind of came out of nowhere in third place. I don't know if the issues on that first lap had anything to do with that, but he tried his best right there to try and break up this duo up front. But he's gone back to third. Let's see if he can regroup here and catch back up to them and give them a challenge once again. As Slate Harrell now is taking the lead from Hudson Howard. We'll see if Hudson wants to get back into the lead in front of Slate Harrell, but I think if they keep looking behind each other, maybe they'll want to team up and try and gap Ruben Greer, because Ruben is still right there, even after all that passing and slicing for position as they come around to complete one more lap here.
We know how fast Hudson Howard is in single lap pace, but now what's the strat gonna be for Ruben Greer? Does he help one of his rivals? Does he maybe try and make that move for P2? He actually gives him a little bit of a shove the inside line. That'll bring him right to the bumper of Slate, who went purple last time by without any help. That's the move to the inside for the lead. Hudson Howard getting back to the front. Ruben Greer trying to pedal and join, but now I think the game plan very apparent for these two MPG guys again. Jay and his son running out of Chase Jones' tent as an extension. And plenty of help. Both of them on Kart Republic equipment. So again, every part of the game plan here could be to work together now, build that gap on Ruben Greer.
Yeah, that was a smart move by Slate Harrell to let Hudson Howard go and then immediately cut back down behind him in that corner. Then you saw him draft right up to his bumper and he didn't make a pass. And they're have gapped the third place of Ruben Greer. And that must be, as I said, frustrating before for other drivers. For Ruben Greer to see them working together like they are and have them gap him when he was up there battling for the lead just a few laps ago.
Check in further back, Light Simonellic, Evan Leash, Maddox Carlucci, and Caden Taruno again. 4 karts involved in that. Probably the biggest pileup we've seen this weekend there at the top of the shark fin. Don't see any full retirements again. Everyone just kind of knocked off kilter, but crucially able to get going again. I think none more disappointed from that than Caden Taruno, who has just been knocking on the door of the podium all weekend long. Currently sitting in P6, just has not been able to make that work. Silas Johnson back in 9th. Big winner here, though, Light Simonellic, the 189, gets himself up into P5.
Yeah, good run for Light Simonellic. We haven't really heard much from that driver this weekend, but a top 5 here, that would definitely be something that they were looking for this weekend. You're not missing anything up front. It's still Howard and Harrell. You can see in the pylon on your screen that they have actually gapped Ruben Greer by over a second now. So them working together, I think, as you mentioned, Jackson, that was probably part of the plan, as Hudson Howard just put up his best lap of the race at a 1:17.571. Or I'm sorry, that was not that lap, but it was very similar to his best lap. He actually did a 1:17.574 that last lap compared to a 5:71, which was his best lap.
Halfway point here for our IAME Mini main event. Still Hudson Howard over Slate Harrell. Ruben Greer was trying to keep up with them. That gap growing now to 1.7. Potentially further back, Evan Leish, third of the MPGs, trying to get into the mix as well. Would like to remind you guys, something weird is going to be happening for us next weekend. We're not going to be at a racetrack. Good opportunity for us to definitely spend some time with friends and family, and definitely not be glued to the TV watching the Coke 600 the Indy 500. But after that, we are right back to it. Another doubleheader weekend. Myself, Caleb Vieska, Dean Helt out to Pahrump, just a stone's throw out from Las Vegas. Round number 5 of the Champions of the Future Americas Series out at Spring Mountains Motorsports Resort for a double points weekend. That'll be a fun time. Then, of course, we'll be right back here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Round number 2 of the Stars Championship Series and King of the Castle. That'll be Nate Dean, Justin Prince, Kyle Cuthbertson on the call for that one. Again, for what is now being grown as an extension series and a regional outlet for the Janowskis. Granted, they run very independent, but again, both on the same MG tires on the Vrome lubricant. Same KA 100 class that'll be migrated over. I think that's frankly why we've got a good chunk of drivers coming over. You'll obviously see a handful of these guys throughout the majority of the championship. But for Kip Nouse, a lot of guys coming over from the Southeast, from the Carolinas. Might just be an opportunity to do a shakedown, get the kart set up, get ready for the big national event coming in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing that we're in the state of Indiana, so the fact that they're off next weekend, I think for the hometown drivers, I think maybe some of them you would see them planned over at the big speedway, of course, Indy 500 next weekend here in Indianapolis. I have to say, I've been to Indiana during this time of year, and they really take motorsports seriously. People with checkered flags outside their homes, parades, milk everywhere. I mean, they really love their motorsports here in Indiana, so you love to be in Indiana this time of year. As we get back to the racing here, this looks like this is the battle for the lead. I'm sorry, I was trying to check my timing and scoring. This is the battle for the lead. Hudson Howard continues to lead, Slate Harrell behind. So they've extended their gap to Ruben Greer, who you saw just a few minutes ago on your screen, by about 3.5 seconds. So now it's almost like we've been saying for all those other races, Jackson, with these two. I think they're kind of just waiting for the 2-lap to go mark, and I think that's when maybe we'll see some action with Slate Harrell maybe trying to make a pass here on Hudson Howard.
Talked about a lot of big names moving between the two racing capitals of the world. Billy Vincent, Chase Jones doing just that with My Parents Garage, moving their base of operations from out here in Indy over to South Carolina at Trackhouse Motorplex now in Mooresville. And again, just simply centered around that's where the big national action is. I mean, you get obviously a handful of national races here, but you have so much more events, especially in the winter now, that are just a little bit closer for them. That made things a little bit easier for that to be their hub of operations. No loss of customers out here. Still a great connection for Chase with a lot of KR dealers out here. Seemingly Chase out here every other weekend anyway. Whether it's, the club races out here or just down the road at K1 Whiteland. The successful migration. Again, that movement of operation, no issue right now. Because Chase Jones has 3 of his go-karts, 1st, 2nd, and 4th on the track right now.
Yeah, Slate Harrell was put down the fastest lap of the event that last lap by, and he was able to do that running in 2nd position. So this is probably most likely going to be the battle for 1st and 2nd. Ruben Greer he's running all by himself back there. He's 4 seconds off the lead, but then he's 4 seconds in front of 4th place position. And this would be, I believe, is this the 4th place battle? No, this is, I think, for 6th and 7th on the racetrack. So this is our best battle, I think, that we have right now, other than what we are seeing for the lead. But they are well spread out almost across the whole length of this 18-turn course here this afternoon. Again, 12 minutes, so plenty of time for these drivers to get strung out, especially after what we saw with the issues on that first lap.
Bruno able to make that lunge for Maddox Carlucci. There's the swing back for the National Motorsports driver. Trying to over-under, up and over the hill to the scoreboard corner. And is just able to get that overlap. That'll be locked in for the time being for P6. Not entirely sure why these guys are out here. I would be led to believe we'll be seeing them for the Stars Championship Series in a couple weeks' time, and maybe this is a shakedown. If not, they've done absolutely their rounds running the regionals far from home in the Pacific Northwest. Always good to see them trying new tracks, meeting new friends, etc. Good battle further back here as Bo Laser on the charge. That is Ash Johnson in the 127. It is. Again, was another very strong drive for him. I beg your pardon, Silas Johnson in the 127 there. That Zebra Kart trying to get that move stuck, but just couldn't make it happen. Bo Laser starting to take off. Twin sticks out here for the IAME Mini main event. Greer has it pretty much locked up for New Gen in P3. But once again, we look to first and second. Hudson Howard, Slate Harrell. The fight is on for IAME Mini Glory.
I believe the leaders will get Hudson Howard and Slate Harrell will get the 2 to go when they come around. This time, they had about 30 seconds left when they passed last time with 3 to go. We're still looking at our battle here deeper in the field between Maddox, Carlucci, and Caden for Bruno. That is, again, for 6th and 7th position. These are really the only other karts that are together on the track for position other than our leaders, Hudson Howard and Slate Harrell, who are coming across the line now to... Oh, what happened to Slate Harrell? He's 2 seconds off the pace now. I don't know what happened there, but he was right on the tail of Hudson Howard just a lap ago.
If it happened, it was absolutely this lap, because looking at the deltas right before this, I think it was maybe at the worst, 2.1 seconds, but he was on the tracks of HUD right in front of him. That means that the 149 going to be darn near uncontested. The final corners here. Slate Harrell has been such a good sparring partner for him all weekend long. And unfortunately for him, runs out of juice for what we believe to be a mistake just coming through the 90s there. But for Hudson Howard, for Jay Howard Driver Development, and for Kart Republic, he's trying to bring that 149 home in one piece. And after a podium at the IAME Grands just a couple weeks ago, top 5s in Queen City Gambit for Swift Stars, and top 10 at USPKS for the Carolina Grand Prix. This one is going to feel pretty dang good. Through the 90s for the final time. It's a 1-2 for MPG. It's a victory for Hudson Howard here at Indy. 1 lap to go. We are none of us perfect people, everyone. Hudson Howard, 1 more lap to go.
It happens to the best of us sometimes. Happens to the best of us.
Ever just say something out loud and you know it's immediately going to be at the end of year Kart Chaser blooper reel? Give a shout out to me. End of the year. Oh man, it has been a long day for us guys. 7 hours. Myself and Brett here in the broadcast booth. We appreciate you for sticking with us. Gonna get set to go for KA100 Junior after this before we send you on your way and get these hardworking crews and this Apex crew home and ready. Let's try that one more time. Hudson Howard working his way through red corner and into the cell tower. And it just looks so strong all weekend long. He's had a couple of adversaries, a lot of them fortunately out of his own tent and in similar machinery, whether it was Harrell or Leish. Ruben Greer tried everything to get there, but ultimately Hudson Howard already pumping the fist early on. Will take the checkered flag, will be victorious here in Mini. And as mentioned earlier, a Kart Republic 1-2 with Slate Harrell home in second.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Hudson Howard, of course, Jay Howard, synonymous with IndyCar racing, and we're here in Indiana, so we could see the future of, maybe, again, we talked about this yesterday, you could go any which way, you could go NASCAR, IndyCar, dirt racing, whenever you could do whatever you want. You start out with karts, but I think Hudson Howard, a driver, a name that we'll probably hear about in one of the major series here in just a few years.
One more race to go here from Newcastle Motorsports Mark, when we return, Cam Johnson going to try and go from the Grand Slam here at K100 Junior.
When it comes to innovation on the track, Odenthal Racing Products leads the pack. From the highly popular EasyGP camera mounts to our tough case to GoPro case, racers everywhere trust ORP for strength, reliability, and precision. We're proud to be the #1 engine mount manufacturer in the USA. And with our new Easy Bumper Retainer System, you won't get caught out with a failed bumper bolt again. Odenthal Racing Products. Lead or get left behind.
Kyle, what are you doing?
It's got my new Greyhound seat.
You don't even have a cart.
Doesn't matter. I have a Greyhound.
Who the f is Kyle Cuthbertson? Doesn't even have a go-kart.
Doesn't matter.
Cuthbertson through on Turney. Turney in.
Ready to go racing one more time here from Newcastle as we get set to go racing the main event for KA100 Junior. It's Ezekiel Height on pole, trying to go back-to-back behind the wheel of the 884. He'll be alongside Darren Kidd, who was out in front for the vast majority of that pre-final. Kalen Berghofer, Easton Kabinski, AJ Stoner, and Christopher Yutzi. Third back to sixth, Ben Gleberman, and then we get to Cameron Johnson. That's got our heads scratching a little bit, and I think the only thing we can assume here, potentially a penalty coming the way of the 810 after that incredible comeback drive from the back of the field in the pre-final.
That's the thing, is he started 8th, but don't count him out. I mean, he went through the grass and went back to, I think, 8th or 10th in the pre-final, and he was able to come back and win the race after being 5 seconds off the pace. There's page 2 of our starting lineup. They are getting lined up, and they're about to get the green.
Plenty of talking points here. Height trying to go back-to-back. Darren Kidd been on the podium every session, trying to win the one that matters. Cam Johnson trying to get to the front. Let's crown one more winner here in Go Racing in the KA Junior Final. Good start from Ezekiel Height, leading them all. One cart dragging a tire. Further back, Kalen Berghofer. The LN cart can waste 0 time, sends it to the inside. Darren Kidd trying to go with him, can't cross him up. Cam Johnson already up in P4, has passed 4 to get us started. Kidd sending it high, leaves the door open. Johnson trying to send it low, not able to get there. We are underway in single file here for the main event for KA Junior.
What an incredible start. I mean, one took off from the very beginning. Oh, and speaking of, the cart is off. That's the 814. That's AJ Stoner.
AJ Stoner.
Oh, no. And he's lost the lead by a big distance there, or the lead pack, I should say. So I was about to say it was gloves off, but everyone kept it on the racetrack. But AJ Stoner going through the grass there and has, I think, dropped back to the final position on the grid as we continue to look at our leaders. Darren Kidd is in second, and Kalen Berghofer in first.
Laughing at the immediate point forward from Kalen Berghofer behind the wheel of the 826. He knows there is a ever-looming imminent threat of Cam Johnson further back. He has kept it in P8 for the time being. And again, it was a phenomenal drive to get himself back to the front of the field in the pre-final. But he was asking a lot for those MG tires, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to repeat that task. second time. He's leading Dominic Gaddis, Andrew Avelos. We'll have to see if he works his way into the mix. You see the pack. He's trying to work his way to a little bit further up. Chris Yautsy, Easton Kabinski, Jacob Scheibel, all the way back to P7. For case in point, already see bumper to bumper out in front. Darren Kidd smother in the back of Kalen Berghofer's OTK. Attempt to build that gap. They're getting it right now. At least 10 kart lengths separate them and Ezekiel Height.
We'll have to see where everyone's passing as they come by this time. But Caleb Johnson looks like Cameron Johnson, holding station in 8th, which is a little surprising given what we saw in the pre-final. As you can see, there is a swap for the lead. That looks like Darren Kidd now into the lead. And it is Darren Kidd. I just want to double check. Darren Kidd into the lead. But they made that swap really, it was almost like a leapfrog as the 823 is off. That's Rhett Johnson. Another kart off. But I was about to say they made Darren Kidd and Kalen Berghofer made a nice little leapfrog for the lead there. It didn't lose too much time, allowing that second pack to catch them.
Heartbreak for the Norway, Illinois driver. Rhett Johnson has his day end in the grass. Will hopefully try and get that kart going again. Back over to Cam Johnson. Might be getting a little bit of help from that MPG just behind Dominic Gaddis. Look a little bit further up. Easton Kabinski, a caged animal right now. Fastest lap that previous go at it, but nowhere to go. Yutzi behind, Gloverman in front. Have to see if he was able to make any moves this time by. Quick glance back to the front here, and it is Darren Kidd leading again here for the first time in the final. See if Kalen Berghofer tries to respond. No, stays in line. Continuing to try and build that 1.2 second gap. They are snowballing further back. I think Kabinski, Yutzi, and Scheibel have ran into Cam Johnson and company. They absolutely have. So Cam now setting sights on Jacob Scheibel in that 821 Burrell. He's trying to make moves of his own, moving Yutzi out of the way. That 833 doing as much as possible to peel away and move forward.
This is that class I was talking about earlier that the leaders can start dicing it up, and these guys could be 5 seconds back, and it'll take them a lap and a half to catch the leader. So this race is far from over, although Darren Kidd and Kalen Berghofer are trying to extend their lead. These guys are not too far behind. They are close enough that they will be ready to pounce if these guys decide to start trading the lead.
Ezekiel Height, Easton Kabinski, then it is Cameron Johnson gaining 2 spots. That last lap become the second car in this freight train up to P5 overall. Sets a purple lap in the process. Might be trying to put another one away here in the form of Yutzi. He defends that Burrell, goes down low, but will get a collateral and put Ezekiel Height down 2 positions in the process. Yutzi doesn't even get a split second to lead. Cam Johnson's going to arrowhead him. Height going to go straight back through with him. Cam Johnson up into P4.
Yeah, I think maybe Cam Johnson heard me when I said he wasn't making moves. I guess all he needed was just a lap under his belt, get those tires warmed up, get them cleaned off, and now he's set sail. Get the fastest lap, and now he's up to 4th. You saw him do the signal. He wants everyone to stay in line behind him because look at the gap they have built between 1st and 2nd, and then 3rd and 4th. It's about over a second and a half. So there's plenty of time, though, with 6 minutes left here for Cam Johnson to catch these leaders.
For Yutzi Johnson, or excuse me, for Yutzi, Kabinski, and Gaddis, it's just staying glued to the back of that highlighter tape and trying to go with the guy who remains the fastest man out on track. You got to imagine if you're Caleb Berghofer, if you look over your shoulder and you see Chrome Teal behind you, got to be a little bit of a heart in your throat moment knowing that the Shark is indeed closing the gap. Once again, last lap by 113.029 for Johnson, 112.793, about 2/10 the advantage to the guys out in front. Exactly what they need to try and build as much insurance as possible. But again, you've got to ask yourself, with Height, Kabinski, Gaddis, they know that they've got one of the fastest kids around in front of them. I thought this was for P4. It's actually for the bottom step of the podium. I'm not sure how much longer these guys want to stick around. Help Cam get to the front of the field. Could be just a couple of laps before the Fangs come out. It could be Caesar on Cam here in P3.
Given the speed that the 810 of Cameron Johnson has shown, I don't know if Ezekiel Heights has anything for Cameron Johnson. If I was Ezekiel, I would try and follow him and see if he can bring me up to the lead. And we're going to see the intervals this time by and see if Cameron Johnson has been able to close the gap at all here. And he did. He cut it down from 2 seconds down to under a second. So Cameron Johnson, I think, will have plenty of time, if he gets some help maybe, to catch these leaders.
Hearing from Cameron's mom that it was actually a jump start penalty in the pre-final that gave him that penalty and sent him back to P8. And as we mentioned, not having too much of a problem right now hanging with him. But what a weekend it's been for Cam Johnson. Has pretty much led every single of heat, warm-up, qualifying he's been involved with on track. Continues to try and close that gap, be out in front for the one that matters.
And I think what Cameron Johnson's wanting to see now is these two leaders of Darren Kidd and Kalen Berghofer start trying to make some passes on each other, but we're not going to see that most likely until they see these two leaders see the two popsicle sticks in the air, and that's not for another 3.5 minutes. So I think we're going to see this time by that they extended their lead, and they did, because Cameron Johnson doesn't have any drafting help behind him. He's kind of in a league of his own.
Pace pretty much plateaued from Cam Johnson here as it stays at about 2 seconds between them and Kellen Berghofer. We can look back at this freight train further behind. Tom Gaddis was the guy out in front further back. He's fought his way past Easton Kabinski and Ezekiel Height to be at the front of that freight train yet again. Gaddis, long tenured driver, out here doing pretty much every regional event on the offering. Trying to maybe make a run for the podium here. Cam Johnson continues to peel away, but crucially not able to close that gap quite yet to Kidd and Berghofer.
Yeah, no surprise that Cameron Johnson is the biggest mover in the field. Or I'm sorry, he is not. He's up 5 positions, but Dominique Gaddis is up actually 7 in 6 positions. So good run for the 857 as well. If you take a look back farther in the field, these drivers trying to line up and see if they can mount a charge, as our leaders have some separation in between them. We'll see if that's able to move forward Cameron Johnson.
Look at this, purple lap from Cameron Johnson. 112.174 brings that gap down once again to just a hair under 1.8 seconds. For the back, Utsi trying to make that move on Kabinski. 2 positions lost as Ezekiel Height goes with him. And unfortunately for Kabinski, who opened the main event here with a handful of purple laps, has maybe asked too much too early from that 820 and starts to drop back. Now it's Chris Utsi's turn to lead this back and try and bring him to Cam.
And if my math is correct, when the leaders go by this time around, this should be 3 laps to go, and then they'll get the 2 laps to go after that. So it's, when the clock strikes 0, they get 2 laps to go, and lap times are at 112. So this indeed will be the 3 lap to go signal. As you can see, Cameron Johnson leaning forward there, trying to get all he can out of this cart. He has the speed, as we said. He clicked off another lap that's quicker than both of our leaders. I just don't know, unless they start making some passes, if he has enough time to get up there without some help.
The reigning KA Junior champion here from the Southeast. Still trying to stay in conversation to start the Midwest campaign out on top. Again, talking with his mom at Route 66 in Norway last year, and throughout his campaign, driving pretty much all the Winter Series out in Florida and Texas. the evolution of Cam as a driver has been noticeable. The confidence has gained. There's been such a great understanding and this full mental adaptation to the full-size kart. Move for the lead here, Berghofer getting that move in turn 13. That could be very expensive. That's risky business with Cam Johnson looming in the rearview mirror. That LM kart. Brandon Crack racing back to the front and will point. This will be it. 2 laps to go. This time by, what's the gap looking like for Cam Johnson? Half a second. Berghofer going down low to try and defend.
He's going to have a chance. Look at
Cam
that
Johnson on the scene. Here we go.
This is what we were expecting to see. He goes in high, goes in low. Nice switch over there. He's up to second. He's got 2 laps to get the lead. I mean, what a drive once again by Cameron Johnson.
And again, right now you saw it. He actually wants to point forward and maybe push Berghofer to clear him of Darren Kidd. But look at this, Darren Kidd gonna swing back. Johnson dropping down to P3. And there is still definitely some canned heat. Not 869, but a great launch out of the exit, trying to swing back as we work our way through the cell tower around the outside. Makes that move stick for P2.
Keep an eye on 4th through 7th. With all this dicing up front, there's a chance that even though they're 3 seconds back, there they are right there. There's a chance they could bring themselves into this fight as we're about to get the white flag. We're going to have a heck of a finish here, Jackson.
One of the best groups we've seen week in, week out. It's the one that matters here for KA Junior. Cam Johnson trying to put it back to the point. Kidd gonna swing it wide into I-70. Can he get a run? He'll give it a shot here, going the long way around now. Johnson hovering down low, out inside, becoming the outside, into the shark fin. Johnson dropping down to P3 now. Everybody going defensive. Everybody in the top 3 trying to make a move. Johnson going once again. Right, that crossover, gonna try and get both of them. Here comes Dom Gaddis for the lead as well. Can he hold it? Johnson nearly into the grass. Will get his way back into the lead, but not for long. Dominic Gaddis, where on earth have you come from? That MPG now working his way back to the point. Cameron Johnson into P2 as we head into turn 11 and the cell tower. Dominic Gaddis busted out the popcorn and watched these 3 battle and just slaved away. Tried to close that gap. And the minute they really got going, that MPG Kart Republic turned up the dial into the 90s. Out of nowhere, there was one man we were expecting to win today, and Dom Gaddis was not on that list. He has denied everyone here. He'll take round number 1 at Indy.
Oh! Who was that went through the grass across the line?
I think it was Cam.
Oh my goodness. I knew we were going to see an amazing finish. Let's see where Cameron Johnson came out here. I don't think he's crossed the line yet, according to our timing and scoring. So something...
I think that was because he was not on the racetrack.
You're right. That makes sense. Okay, so he didn't go across the line, technically, so they're going to have to hand score him whatever position he was through. But you mentioned it. Dominic Gaddis was in 4th, and I said watch for that second pack. And they came on the scene so quickly. Wow, what a way to cap off the weekend with that final race there.
Coming to the Twin Six, we got the feeling that it was going to be a stellar last lap pass to end off our day here in KA Junior. But I don't think any of us had the belief that it was going to be the 857 for Kart Republic. In my parents' garage, Dominic Gaddis getting his first win of 2026, upsets the field. We'll put Darren Kidd and Ezekiel Height back on the podium. Back-to-back podiums for Zeke there in the 884. A phenomenal day of racing here to bookend round number 1 of the Midwest Division. Where do you start to put this one into words, Fred?
I mean, that was just such a great battle at the end. That was probably the race of the weekend, and what better way to cap off, like I said, all the racing we saw this weekend than with an event like that. That race to the finish. That's one that's probably going to go up on the Kart Chaser YouTube. So I'm going to watch that one back after we get off the air for sure.
One for the archives. Round number 1 of the Apex Midwest Championship in the books. Trevor Blue directed it. Carson Clements produced it. Case and Fry, Gabe Romo on the cams. And it's time for us to say goodbye and pack our bags We thank you so much for sticking with us all weekend long in a phenomenal weekend of good old grassroots racing. For this hard-working Apex Karting Championships crew, our Kart Chaser production crew nationwide, my partner in the booth, Brett Baldick, I'm Jackson Lambros. Have a phenomenal Memorial Day weekend. We'll see you back here in 2 weeks' time. King of the Castle on deck next here for Kart Chaser.
This broadcast is the sole property of Kart Chaser Group, LLC. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of the images, audio, or accounts of this event, in whole or in part, without the expressed written consent of Kart Chaser Group, LLC is strictly prohibited. Thanks for watching.